Say 104.9 no more. I'm not going to say that no more. The horn is still around. It's still alive and kicking, but not on 104.9 after today. So we'll discuss that. Also, we got a lot of sports to get to. We got audio from the Steve Sarkisian introductory press conference for training camp for Texas football. So we'll go through all of the pieces of audio and we'll break it down from every different angle. Slap it up, flip it, and rub it down. Also, NFL news, notes, and nuggets from training camp from the Dallas Cowboys. There's good and bad nuggets to get to. Also, we'll continue to talk about the NBA-ification and the WWE-ification of the NFL, the trash talk that continues between the Jets, and the Denver Broncos. Well, not the Broncos, really just Sean Payton. We'll talk about that, too. We got a lot to get into, but, of course, the big topic on the show is that it is the last show. Last ball don't lie. That is it for us. And shout out to my man Chad, who did a great kind of sayonara and a great last show for he and Zay, and gave a lot of good shout outs over the years. Chad made it seem like he's never going to work in radio again to me. And I'm like, well, I mean, he named people like he wasn't going to work in radio again. And I think Chad's going to end up working in radio again somewhere. That's why I root for all the sports stations in Austin. I'm rooting for them. Because I've worked for two of them now, and I might end up working for another. So I'm rooting for all of them. Right? I want all of them because I got a lot of good friends in this industry, and I want all of them to have opportunities because they're all really good at their jobs. They're passionate about their jobs, and they deserve opportunity. And this is a bigger market. And Austin deserves lots of sports stations. They deserve, live local sports talk all damn day. All right, they do, and we did our damnedest to try to give it to you. And, the ride is done, but that's okay because we're going to retool, and the horn, that's the goal again. That's going to always be the goal. We're going to always shoot for that, and we may come up short. That's okay. We're going to keep the goals and our ambitions really high. What I'll say about Chad is the fact that dude's an Aggie and has been in radio in Austin how long? 24 years? 20?
Something like that. It's crazy.
That tells you how good he is at his job.
Yeah.
That's how good he is at his job. Because Longhorn fans don't want to like him. They fight every fiber of their being to like Chad Hastings or to agree with him. He's an Aggie, so naturally there's a wall they put up like, oh, God, this guy's an Aggie. No matter what he's saying, it's coming from an Aggie. And he found a way to kind of worm his way in an Aggie-like manner into the hearts of Austin, sports radio fans out there. And he's, like I said, doing it on different platforms forever in different ways. And I admire Chad. I got a lot of respect for him. I actually had never met Chad face-to-face before I started working here. I had known of him, but never met him face-to-face. And respect for the craft. The guys who have respect for the craft, man, they earn my respect. Respect him. I got a lot of respect for the man. He beats, and trust me, as Rod B, look at my papers, you can still see him. Those who are passionate about it and they grind and they work. Chad will grind out on some random stat and go rabbit hole and come here and give you the thorough breakdown. Hell, it might be about uniforms. Who knows? But the fact, and I love this about. I was talking to Chad in the break. I don't know if he cares that I'm going to bring this to the people, but it's going to happen. He had never, because I myself have been in this business for 15 years now here in Austin, and God willing, it's going to continue. But I had never got a chance to choose my co-host before. And this was my first time actually getting a chance to choose one. And this was his. Yeah. He chose Zay as his co-host. First time. Usually they're arranged marriages.
Yeah.
True. You got to make it work. Arranged marriage, make it work, which can be tough. But it's interesting that he deems as kind of now his last ride. He got a chance to choose his co-host.
It ain't his last ride.
I don't think so either.
It's the last ride for now. I know.
Like
it's sad right now. He can be look.
Come on, man.
It's Tuesday.
Just say see you later.
Yeah.
He was saying
he's
goodbye.
too good. And I mean, and you say the stuff from behind the scenes, the stuff that we're trying to put shows together. That dude can be putting together quality radio while doing so much stuff behind the scenes and making sure that the horn was on the air and that sports were where they needed to be and all that stuff, and getting board ops in the right place and people to run remotes, like a bunch of stuff that people didn't see. Doing that and still putting on a good show.
He's multi-talented. I said there's like a few people. You're one of those people, actually. Craig Way, John Madani, Chad Hastings, Patrick Davis, that can do everything in radio. There's not one aspect of the job, whether it be promotions or it be, producing, board op, on air, any aspect of it, they can do it. And that's a talent. I don't have that. I'm not more like one trick pony. I can do a couple of things, but I'm not that multifaceted.
No.
And I admire those who have that kind of skill set. Makes you guys really, really valuable. So, Chad, my point is he shouldn't be saying goodbye. I hope he wasn't saying goodbye. Chad's going to be around. Chad's, I don't know where he's going to land, but Chad's going to be around because he's too damn talented. Also, since we're talking about it, the next chapter. We're ending one chapter on the horn, start a new chapter. And the new chapter will actually officially start August 7th on Monday.
Yes.
And we've been asked, I've been blessed, I've been on air. I look at it in football seasons. My life kind of revolves around it. So 15 straight football seasons on air here in Austin, and I want to continue that. I really do love, speaking to the people and being kind of one of the thought leaders about Texas football discourse. So that's going to continue. So thanks to the good folks here who actually thought that my talents were worthy of keeping around here. So E. Hogan and myself, Aaron Hogan and me, we're going to do a morning show from 6 to 11 a.m. Not on 104.9, of course, because 104.9 will no longer be what it is today. It'll be something, I don't know what it's going to be, actually. It'll be something else.
It'll be something else in about 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's a countdown going on. All right? It'll be something else, but in terms of terrestrial radio, you'll still be available to hear the show 6 to 11 a.m. on 101.9 and AM 1260. Now, if you don't like those signals, I get it. I totally understand. You can just stream it on the Horn app. You got the Horn app? Boom, you're good. Same, don't even worry about it. You got the Horn app, you just tune in through the Horn app like you always do. If you stream it via the website, hornfm.com, you can just continue to stream it there at hornfm.com. Wherever you stream the Horn, you can continue to stream the Horn. That's the best way, honestly, for most of you out there to be able to consume the show. Is going to be to stream it, because the signals, I've heard they're trying to boost them and do other things, but they are what they are. AM 1260 is a strong signal, and 101, but it's an AM signal. I mean,
it's an AM signal. And 101.9 is more north?
Yes, it's a north signal.
But,
much.
yeah, I will tell you, the best way to get a hold of us right now is the hornfm.com and the Horn app, or streaming wherever you can find your streaming. Any way you can do it, but online streaming would be the best way to find us in the time. I know our ownership management always wants to find the next best solution to do things, but where we're at right now, this is the best solution for you, is to stream it.
Yeah. So we know that it may be an inconvenience, but we appreciate your support. You guys have been awesome, because we know the rollout for these announcements hasn't been smooth, but I'm telling you, that's really, we've been getting the information, and we kind of give it as we get it. It's been that chaotic around here, but that's okay, because ish happens, right? So we're going to do a morning show, 6 to 11 a.m. E. Hogan and myself, Ty Harrington, I believe, is going to be the producer on the show. Why did I say Ty Harrington?
Because he worked.
Yes, I got my ties mixed up. I apologize. My ties. Ty Henderson, I apologize. Yes, it'd be great if Coach Harrington could come produce the show. That'd be awesome. But, and then we'll have an afternoon component as well that'll be live and local, and my man Patrick Davis, actually, is going to be the host.
We'll be starting up the Sports Complex 5 to 7 weekdays here on the Horn. We'll be doing things. We'll, of course, be interacting with the listeners, be taking a lot of text in and talking with you guys, asking you guys questions, trying to solve all the world's problems. You know, something I like to do with my friends at night, solve all the world's problems. So hopefully we'll do that.
Don't get canceled. But you know how that goes.
We'll also have on a lot of guests. We'll have some musicians, some comedians, and, of course, the best people in UT football, UT basketball, UT baseball. We'll be talking to people from NFL, NBA, MLB. And, maybe we'll stretch out into some other sports. We'll get some motorsports in, and depending on when we got time and what the big story of the week is, we'll reach out and try and get a bunch of different guests in as well as taking some of the clips from the morning show with Rod and Aaron and trying to get some of those to break down for you as well. And we'll continue to bring you the best coverage in UT that I still feel we'll still have the best coverage, even if we don't necessarily have access to UT fully. Exactly. I can tell you we will break it down and be honest with you, because they can't tell us to shut up anymore. And they didn't really much. But yeah, they can't now. They have really no recourse. So we'll be telling you what we think about UT sports, as well as all the professional teams. I can't wait for basketball season, as always, being a basketball guy. I was talking to Craig today when he was leaving the building. I was like, I'm still going to be trying to get to as many games as I can. I'm still.
Oh, what? Already. Yeah, you're gonna miss that. Those seats you used to have before.
I'm gonna miss my
courtside.
My paid for courtside seats.
Courtside. Now you had to work the whole time.
I did, but
still, nobody got a better view. Like you saw everything. Got a better view.
But I will still be as many games as I can get to for UT basketball.
Yeah, man.
So we will keep up all of that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've been lucky enough to work with Rod, and we worked together a little bit in the old place, but not
on air.
Not on air, but just kind of we knew each other. And then from doing this show, it's awesome to have him here. There's no one who does better UT coverage than Rod Babers.
I appreciate
Aaron Hogan is a professional who's been here forever. He's helped me a lot and been someone that's worked with me. So that show is going to be awesome. Love Ty as well. We did Instant Series for about a few months. So it's going to be a really fun show with Rod and Aaron in the morning, and then hopefully the Sports Complex in the afternoons, 5 to 7. We hope you join us, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun here on the Horn, keeping you as local as we can.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, the goal is always to get kind of back to live and local as much as we can all day, and we're proud to bring that to you. That's coming to an end, but we still will have 2 live local shows, one in the morning and then the Sports Complex. Now, I don't know what we're going to name the show with myself and E. Hogan. I think E early on is just going to call it E and Rod B, like that. But I think we got to have a name for it. E and Rod B is just way too not vanilla.
You need the tagline on it. So it's E and Rod B, but something with E and Rod B.
I think exactly. It's something with E and Rod B. You can't just go E and Rod B. Like no. Man, it's way too vanilla. I need some seasoning on it. You know what I mean? Like something on it. Just put on some plain chicken with no seasoning at all on it. Like, nah, we good. We gonna have to. I ain't gonna say why, but we need to season that up a little bit. I think y'all all know why we need to season that up. Okay?
Yeah. I'm with you.
Little Lowry's on that stuff.
Put some seasoning on.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this: I've been working with the salespeople. We've been working with the engineers. Everybody here. We're going to try and get out as much as we can. It's going to be hard at first for us to get out all the time, but we want to come out and see you. So we're working to be out and be a part of the community and be out with you as well as things progress here on the Horn as we move forward.
Someone said, can't be RB&E. No, it can't be. Because then it's just,
too much.
To bring back old memories, so we can't be. Yeah, could have easily, even Rod B&E would have been guys like, well, it can't go. Can't do that.
No.
Can't do, nope. Yeah, so we all know why. But don't worry, because trust me, if you want to hear from Buck, I got a feeling Buck's already making plans to get stuff done. So don't worry about that. All right. So just so everybody knows, 6 to 11 a.m. All right. We're starting August 7th, Monday, August 7th. But weekdays, 6 to 11 a.m. Right now, the show is just E and Rod B. But you know what? We're going to let you name it. I haven't even got approval from E on that, but that's what's happening. We're going to let y'all name it. The last few shows I've been on, I've let the people name them, and they've been great.
Yeah.
Ball Don't Lie. We had the triple option with RBKD. And then when BK left, we just kept the RBKD because it works. It was like, you know what? It still works. These fans are brilliant. They're amazing. So, I'm going to let y'all do some of the work. That's less work I got to do. So we're going to let y'all name it. There you go. And y'all get into it, and then y'all can figure out what it is. Now, that's 6 to 11 a.m. weekdays on 101.9 and AM 1260. No longer on 104.9 because, like we said, there's a countdown right now. And also 105.3 just for good measure.
That is already switched.
That's already switched? There you go. So don't even worry about that. And remember, wherever you stream us, Horn app, best one. And somebody said, I couldn't find the Horn app. I think you got to, when you type in the search bar, type in Horn FM or Horn Austin. Because sometimes just Horn may not do it. It may take you to a whole lot of things. So Horn FM, Horn Austin, I think in my phone, it went straight to it. All right, so there you go. And my man Patrick Davis, the Sports Complex, 5 to 7 That's going to be Monday through Friday, weekdays on also 1019 and 60 and all the places where you stream The Horn. There you go.
There you go.
Got it cut.
And then I believe all the other shows will be announced here in the next couple of days of what's happening between and all around us. But all that will be coming soon. But, yeah, stay tuned for that. And then August 7th, all the shows start. So we hope to see you here bright and early on next Monday.
August 7th, baby. It's going to be nice. Have the Dog. What's on from 11 to 5? We don't know. Not yet. Well, they're working on it. I don't know. This stuff is above my head. There are people that are, in that pay grade. That's their job. They're working on it. I don't know. I have no idea what it is. I'm sure it's going to be something quality. I mean, I don't think they're going to just throw anything on there because we can't. We are not in a position to just throw anything on there. So I'm sure it'll be something that is really good. From what I've heard, the names that have been thrown out there, I agree with all of them, and I'm sure they're going to narrow it down to just a couple of shows. But I like all the options that were thrown out there. And Patrick and I, we would have put our 2 cents in if we didn't like what they were going to do.
Yes.
And sometimes we put our 2 cents in and they don't care. So, just so you know, that also happens because just like you at your job, they okay, yeah, we heard he said we don't give a damn about what he's talking about. I like this texter, Easy Rod in the morning with the E. Someone says running back with E and Rod B. That's not bad. Running back.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all. All right, so yeah, get creative on that, guys. We appreciate it. Okay, so it says talk is cheap with Ian Rod B. Okay, you know what? I gotta write these down. All right, I'll write these down in the break. I'm gonna start writing them down.
Start writing them down.
I'm gonna start writing them down and getting them out there. Yeah. Oh, somebody thinks they already know. They're already hitting us up on this fake text line. Hey, if you guys can guess what it is, then great. I'm sure E might have revealed more than I know because E, I think, knows more than me. So if E already said stuff that you guys know, then great. Go with what E said. He's well informed.
He's well informed.
He's well informed. My future co-host, which will be my 11th in 16 years here in Austin. That's why it is very emotional when people say bye, but I've done it so much. I'm almost calloused to it.
Yeah.
I've literally, like I said, I have 11 different co-hosts in 16 years. I basically do this every year and a half. I do this.
Yeah.
I switch a show. I gain a co-host. I lose a co-host. It's unfortunate, but I'm dead inside.
Yeah, I think being a Longhorn fan has made me compartmentalize a lot of things. If you're a Longhorn.
Also, why I'm dead inside.
Yeah, I being a Longhorn, and then I was a Texans and Oilers fan. Like a lot of that requires you to watch the game, be very sad for a little bit, and then move on.
I'm a Texans fan. That's why I'm dead inside. I can name like 3 or 4 reasons why I'm dead inside. That a lot of it is but also I'll say this. I think it's this new era of radio. Like B&E and Bucky and those guys being together for 20 years. I don't know if that ever happens anymore. It's almost like my mom and my dad worked at jobs for like 20-something years. My dad, I think, worked at a job for like 30 years, a long time, 35 years, something like that. That never happens. And nobody who is born in this new generation is going to work at a job that long. Nobody.
No. You're told not to now.
Yeah, they tell you it's bad. They tell you
it's bad.
And the company don't want you there that long either. Like, nah, we don't want you.
Hey, man, why you been here for 8 years? Because I'm loyal? Nah, I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't happen anymore. I think the average stay at a job now is like 3 to 4 years, something like that. Back in my dad's day, he's like, no, you try to get a gig, keep it as long as you can, forever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we kind of live in a new ecosystem, if you will. So it's unfortunate, but there are brighter days ahead. And I think all of the folks are good friends and folks who are really good at their jobs as well, who are unfortunately no longer going to be here. They'll find places to land.
There's a reason the Horn was so good for so long was because there
talent.
Wasn't really a weak link.
Had talent, man. Yeah. Look at all the talent that went on to do great things. Had tons of talent all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. We appreciate all you guys' support. You guys are awesome. I mean, that's the best part of this job is, hanging out with you guys every damn day. So it is that. Someone said, dang, Rod, did your co-host say it's me, Rod, not you? Bye. Listen, most of the time, like I said, they're arranged marriages and also arranged divorces.
Yeah.
Like okay, BK left for something right out. It's like, who are my co-hosts that left?
KD left?
AJ Hoffman left, BK left, KD left. John and Danny left at one time. but he wasn't the co-host. I don't think when he left, he was just a PD. Keith Moreland, Big Red, left because he went to do like color with the Chicago Cubs or something like that for them. Craig Way left. Oh, damn. It is me. Now I don't think like, whoa, hold up.
They all left.
They all leave. That's not arranged divorces. No, they didn't leave it me. Damn it. Damn you, man. Damn you, Texter. I did not need that dose of reality today. Okay.
Don't worry, Rod. I'm sticking out with you, buddy.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, this is gonna end. We're just gonna ride off the cliff together, like, I like that.
Yeah, and Harge, we love too. He will land on his feet. He's spending time with his family, which is it's why he's a lovely man.
Yes, and Harge actually Harge has multiple jobs.
Yes,
like Harge does have multiple jobs. So Harge, trust me, he's not gonna allow himself to be out of work for anything. Like Harge was actually this was kind of like his third job, I believe.
This is his third job, and I think he was like, you know what? I'm gonna enjoy a little bit of time with my family before I start my 5th and 7th and 12th job.
Yeah, he needs a little vacation from all the jobs. Someone says, yes, you are the common denominator. I know. I just realized that I think most of my co-hosts have left, and they've left me. Wow. That is sobering. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty sobering. Yes, well, I'm dead inside. See, going back to my original point, I am dead inside. I've never cried during a movie. Never cried.
During any movie.
Never cried during the movie. Never cried.
I mean, there's got to be something.
Maybe felt it. Got emotional. Like never a tear though. Never tear dropped. No tear
like
ever
Schindler's
dropped.
List ends, and you're like, so what do you want to eat?
I know. It was very emotional movie.
Yeah.
Oh man. But I didn't cry. The tear didn't drop. It, maybe I welled up. Maybe that happened, but I never tear dropped. No, never happened. I know.
I mean, I don't know if that's impressive or.
So send me movies that will make me cry. I need movies because sometimes movies are tragic and they're very sad, and even to the point where they can be to the point where you can't even watch the deplorable acts on screen, like Roots or something like that. Was it 12 Years a Slave or something like that? But that didn't make me cry. I was just repulsed.
Yeah.
And disgusted more than anything. But
that's an anger.
Cry.
Yeah.
I didn't cry. You know what I mean? So I need to. Maybe I need a good cry. Maybe that's the closure I need with this show ending and a new show. Maybe I just need to have a good cry somewhere. This is why men die before women. Men don't have a. You ever catch your woman, any woman in your life, your mom, your wife, just having a good cry? They love it. It's like, what are you doing? Just giving a good cry. I got to get it out. Got 2 minutes. You want to get these emotions in. You want to keep these, emotions that are, I'm talking about powerful emotions.
Yeah.
You want to keep them in and you don't want to let them out. You need something to kind of release that, man. It's bad for you.
No, I mean, that's a kid just cries really hard for 25 seconds and then's like, all right, on to the next.
I got it. Yeah, I got it out. Yeah, I got it out of my system. So maybe I need to do that. Maybe I got to think about this. All right. That's the first segment. I didn't even know. We just kind of went through that.
We rolled through it. Wait, it's all right.
We got lots of Sark sound to get to. Basically, a ton of it. We'll be playing it all throughout the show.
We do. The Astros might have done something today?
Yes.
They might have? I don't know.
Astros made a move. The trade deadline is still like in 2 hours, right?
An hour and a half. Yeah.
Hour and a half. Okay, you got an hour and a half for it. So there's still some time for more moves to be made, but the Astros made a huge move. So we'll get to that coming up next. Justin Verlander, once again, a Houston Astro. Go Stros! We'll get to that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. I want to put on the horn. Top of the charts Tuesday, the last top of the chart. Well, I don't know. Patrick's got a show coming up.
We don't know.
Here on the Sports
We don't know
Complex.
yet.
So we don't know. It's the last one on Ball Don't Lie. How about
Yes.
that? The last top of the charts Tuesday on Ball Don't Lie. On the last Ball Don't Lie. Right here on 104.9. And yeah, the last day on 104.9. A lot of last happening. So I'll just kind of save you on that. But my man Patrick always hooking us up. So we appreciate his musically themed days of the week, which I'll be, saying bye to as a co-host. But something tells me you might have some type of musically themed days or something.
It would not surprise me.
If one or two, not the whole week, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, we may have musically themed weeks too.
Ooh.
We may do that if we don't have a lot of time during each show. We may just do a whole week of something.
I like that. I like that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens and what works.
512-337-3776. That is the number to the Specs text line. Let's talk about what the Astros did. Because the Astros traded for Justin Verlander right before the trade deadline. Still, by the way, you still have time. You got like an hour and a half before the trade deadline expires. The Astros get Justin Verlander. The Mets, they got Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford, both two outfielders. Deal is done. Hey, what about why didn't they just sign him in the offseason?
So this is the thing, and this is what I was wondering when the whole trade went down. It doesn't make sense to go up your number 1 and number 4 prospect for Verlander and not get money back. Because they gave money back with Scherzer to help pay for his contract. Because if you were just going to match $43 million for the next couple of years, you just would have done it in the first place.
Yeah,
but you said we can't match that offer. Keep in mind, they still have to sign Kyle Tucker. So I was a little worried when this trade happens. You're like, well, that money doesn't work out. Bob Nightingale is reporting that the Mets are sending about $54 million in the Verlander trade.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it is a thing that if the 2025 option is vested, it would still be it'd be basically he's owed about $93 million if he takes the option. The Astros are only going to pay about $29 million for it.
Okay.
So if we say $29 million for a possible 2.5 seasons, that becomes a much more affordable number, and why you give up your number 1 and number 4 prospect for it, because now you're basically paying a very low rate for one of the best pitchers in the league still.
Is that better than paying the higher rate and keeping your prospects?
I don't think that was an option.
Okay.
And so
no, I'm just saying, like, if you would have just
and I
went
get
after
it too.
him in
And
free
if you keep Kyle Tucker, then these are both outfield prospects as well. So with Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker, you can probably sign another outfielder. If Chas McCormick continues to progress, if you re-sign him, you don't necessarily have a room, and they have a couple of other outfielders that are at the top of their prospect list as well. I believe the number 4 prospect, I got to look up his name again, but he was Ryan Clifford. They were saying is a guy that he was drafted last year. He is very highly sought at. Like, he is thought of to be very good. He's already batting really well at a high A level. So he is somebody that some are saying may be their top prospect, even though he's super young. So these are good prospects, but they also have Jacob Melton, Colin Barber, who are a little bit ahead of both of them on trajectory to get to MLB as their number 2 and number 3 prospect. Those are both also outfielders. So I think they felt we can give up some outfielders, and if we have to give up the better ones to get the money so we can make this work. And it really all goes down to, and you have to take these chances. If you win a World Series, it's worth it.
It always is.
It's worth it. And if you don't, then it's one you look back on in 5 or 10 years and go, oh, man, they got 2 starters. They got an all-star, and we didn't even win another World Series. So, look, you got to take a swing, no pun intended. But I think that this is the right move. You realize your rotation was a little bit weak. You realize you did not have the veteran experience in the pitching game.
Yeah.
We talked about last year that when they lost Brett Strom, the pitching coach, that Justin Verlander took a huge step up in helping out this pitching staff. So I think that there's something to be said of bringing back a guy that is not only kind of helping you out in that aspect, but also helping you out in working with the younger pitchers, working with the guys, get them, get their mind right after losses, all those types of things that Verlander kind of can help out with, and not fully do, but help out with. It becomes a valuable trade. And especially when the money came in. Because that was the one thing. When I saw the prospects, that's a lot to give up for a 40-year-old. But if you say the money's there, 2.5 seasons, these prospects could be great. We've all seen prospects not work out as well. You're giving up some lotto tickets for a proven commodity. And if anybody right now said, hey, I'm going to give you a 20-year-old Corvette for 2 lottery tickets. We'd be like, you know what? I'll take the Corvette.
No, he's playing. I mean, he's still dealing. I mean, he has a 1.95 ERA in his last 9 starts, 3.15 ERA for the season, and he just pitched his 250th game. He won his 250th game in his last start. So
yeah,
he's still playing and pitching at a really high level. And to your point about him being the player coach that you bring on, Framber is struggling right now for whatever reason. I mean, he's lately, I think in his last 5 starts, he's got a 7.0 ERA.
Yeah.
So he is in his own head right now. That may be the perfect remedy for him, is bringing in a guy like Verlander who can kind of talk him through it.
And again, you have Hunter Brown, who you have not traded. It was talked about being traded at the deadline, but if bringing in Verlander helps you turn Hunter Brown into a better player, because Hunter Brown in all aspects is a Verlander clone.
He is. Those videos are freaky.
So if we say, well, now you're going to bring him back, and so getting Verlander kind of makes Hunter Brown another playoff rotation pitcher. If you're able to translate that into that, well, now you just got 2 rotation pitchers that you feel confident about in the playoffs versus just the one you get. So I think there's a lot of positives in it. It is a pretty hefty price to pay to get 2 top 5 prospects in your organization. But again, as I said, their number 2 and number 3 are also outfielders. So you can't have top 4 prospects being all outfielders and keep all 4 of them. There's only 3 outfield spots. Plus, you got a young Yordan Alvarez. Plus, you have Kyle Tucker, who you're hoping to re-sign and keep for a long time. You have 2 outfielders that you'd like to have on your roster for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yep.
And then you have 4 more in line behind them. Something has to give at some point, so I get why you make that move. It sucks that it could be your 1 and 2, your 2 best prospects to get it, but you just have to make the move sometimes.
Yeah, I think the retrospective criticism would be, well, could you have just signed? It would have been worth it to just pay the top price for the free agency to acquire him in free agency rather than trade for him.
If the thing is,
and I guess maybe they wanted to see if he was going to still be able to pitch at a high level.
Well, I don't think
before they did that.
But that's the difference. Is you're talking about the difference of $123 or $129 million or $29 million and 2 prospects. I get that it's almost $100 million you were going to save not doing this.
I know, but it's all about how you look at the prospects.
Yeah, and
if you like the prospects.
And you have to pay Kyle Tucker. So if you tell me, okay, we kept Justin Verlander, we're paying him $43 million a year, we lose Kyle Tucker because we can't pay him anymore because Jim Crane does have a price cap on how much he wants to spend. He doesn't want to lose money running the Astros. And we get 2 prospects, and one of them turns out to be an all-star. Is that a valuable trade? Would you make that trade-off? Now, if you're going to say both of them are all-stars, I don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, it's the mystery box.
Yeah, exactly. And in 5 to 10 years, if he's just an everyday starter and not an all-star, then I take the trade all day because you're getting a Hall of Famer and an all-star.
It's approving something you already know.
A Verlander and a Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker, again, we said if Shohei Ohtani got moved today, then Kyle Tucker's in the race for MVP. Like, that's how well he's playing right now. So if we can't keep him, that's a huge problem. And if you're paying Verlander $43 million, I don't know if you keep him.
No, like I said, I like the move because it says the Astros believe, and they should, that, hey, man, they got a shot because the AL is up for grabs. The American League is right now, it's up like 4 or 5 teams that could potentially make a run to win the AL, and they're one of those teams. And if they're in that division with the Rangers, who just made 2 big moves, to bolster their pitching, you got to keep up with the Joneses right now. And the Rangers, I think the Rangers now have a half-game lead, something like that.
Half-game, yeah, because the Astros played again last night. The Rangers had the night off.
Yeah.
Astros get the win. So, yeah, they are now a half-game back.
It's getting tight. It's right there, man. That can go either way.
Yeah,
in that
so
division.
by the end of tonight, the Astros could be in the division lead. They could be a game and a half back. They could be, they could have a half-game lead. We don't know. But we know that they made a move. You had to make a move.
You had to make a move.
And I think that this was the right move. I know everybody would hope that your owner would be willing to throw all of the money everywhere at any problem. But this is another thing you have to remember, and this is one thing with L.A. and New York. L.A. and New York make money off their local TV deals. The Astros are right now at a point where their local TV deals are falling apart.
Man, their local TV deals have been bad for a while.
The AT&T Sportsnet is just falling apart, and they don't have the money to pay them, really. So you're losing a lot of revenue that would normally be there. And yes, there is sharing with everybody else and you make money. I'm not saying Jim Crane's going broke. I am saying that it is not quite the same amount of money that he has to spend before he is going into his own pocket as some of these other teams.
Yeah.
And the difference of $40 million. I mean, it's really we're around $100 million, like $95 to $100 million difference of if they had just signed him in the offseason or if they had to give up these prospects.
Like you said, if they make a World Series run, none of it, whatever the cost was, it was worth it.
Yeah, and you open your window that this could be another this season, next season, and then possibly another season on that. Verlander could still be an Astro.
Man, Verlander. I mean, how old is this guy now?
40?
Yeah, he's definitely
40 something.
I think he's like early 40s. He's like 41 or something like that. That's amazing that he still can pitch at a high level after injuries and surgeries, and he's still right now.
He's 40.
He's 40.
Yes.
All right. Still pretty amazing. Giving the middle finger to Father Time, as Tom Brady once did. But he comes for us all. When is Father Time going to come for Justin Verlander? When does it happen?
I mean, I feel like it did. When you have that surgery and you have Tommy John, it gives you a little bit new lease on life. Yeah, but I mean, we saw Nolan Ryan pitch well into his 40s, and I'm not comparing Verlander to Nolan Ryan, but it is. I think there is guys that can go. I would say, I wouldn't count on the third year of this contract being great. Another reason why the Astros didn't want to sign him was because he wanted a third year on that deal, and they basically. Like, man, come on, man. Do you really we saw you fall off at points this season?
He's saying, "Hey, I'm a superhuman." And they're like, "Yeah, no, we think you'll wear off by the time you're 42, 43."
Yeah. So, but at this point, if you're not paying for it, you gave up your prospects, you gave up something that maybe is great, but maybe not.
Verlander played it well. He did. Yeah. He played the market really well. For
and you didn't let him end up in the Rangers. You didn't let him end up on the Dodgers. He is.
An Astro once again.
He's an Astro once again.
No, it's a big move by them. I'm glad they made it. They had to make some kind of move because the Rangers, once again, I think what they did was really, really impressive, bringing on Max Scherzer. And it looks like, right now it's going to be, if the Astros can win, all right, so I don't want to jinx it, but we're going to be dead even potentially in that division between the Astros and Rangers. That rivalry right now is fantastic.
Well, and
that's a great rivalry right now in baseball.
And let's not forget, Mike Trout comes back at some point in this season. The Angels just made a bunch of moves. They may make another.
What are they, 4 games out of the wild card?
They're 4 games out of the wild card, but if you start putting those in, and those are series again, where those are big series for the Angels, and they have Shohei, who seems to be playing on even another level right now.
Man.
So, I mean, there is something to be said that, both these teams, the Astros and the Rangers, also have somebody in their rearview mirror who is souping up the car.
I would love it's against my own interest, I guess, as an Astros fan, but I would love to see Shohei in the postseason.
I would love to knock him out of the postseason too, but
I would love to see him. I know because knock him. I know I want to see him. But I know that's bad for the Astros somehow. Well, I guess not. The Astros just win the division.
Yeah, if we don't play them,
they can catch the exactly. They can end up catching the Rangers, but I don't see that happening. I see the Rangers and the Astros, this thing coming down to the wire. Both of those teams being postseason teams, and I don't know if you're going to get the Angels in, but they're certainly going all in potentially on this because if they lose Shohei Ohtani after this season, he hits free agency and goes to another team. This will be considered one of the gross miscalculations in the history of Major League Baseball. You're talking about the best player on the planet right now, and then hopefully they can keep him. But if they don't make the playoffs and they decided not to trade him,
if you don't make the playoffs, now I think that you're once you're buying at this point, you have a better shot to be like. 'Cause we haven't seen the Yankees really do a ton.
Yeah.
They've been pretty quiet around the trade deadline, which is somewhat surprising because we kind of figured they would be massive buyers because
not over yet.
It is not over yet, but I would have expected to see them try and make some other moves just because they really need to bolster some things. But if that's an AL team that's not there, that's a perennial AL team that now opens up a spot for somebody else.
Yeah, I would love to see what's being offered. What was offered for Shohei? Like what the team offered? Like what was the offer?
Yeah, I mean, because if you look for Verlander, and I get it's Verlander and like $50 million.
Yes, of course.
But to get Verlander and it took your first and fourth 40-year-old
Verlander.
For your first and fourth prospect, and you were like, yeah, it's a whole farm system.
And now you talk, so imagine a show. Yeah, I wonder what the trade package is even. What do they even present that wouldn't be scoffed at? Because there is no value established for a player like Shohei. We just haven't established it.
No, because you don't trade that player because you're not on a losing team with that player.
Yeah, that's actually also one of the greatest mysteries in the history of sports. How can the Angels, with the two best players in baseball, arguably on the same team, never have been a postseason team with those two players on the team?
They're expanding the playoffs to let more teams get in.
How is that possible?
And you're still not in it.
What? That doesn't make any sense. That's crazy. So we'll see. So there's still some drama before the trade deadline that could actually happen, but we'll keep you abreast of anything going on. But the Astros did make a big move, bringing Justin Verlander back to H-Town. All right, we come back. We'll get into the flex on the other side, and then the 4 o'clock, we'll restart things and hit those pieces of audio from Steve Sarkisian from his opening training camp press conference and media availability today. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Are you choosing these songs to be sentimental?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
it's literally just you have to take with what was number one on this week.
Yeah. Even though this song is about love and everything, it just, it's sentimental.
It's a nice little sentimental. Yes. We're just trying to make you cry, Rod.
I know, because I'm dead inside, and I've told these people to send me on the Specs X line a movie that will make me cry, because I've never cried during the movie. And they said Brian's song, Another said John Q. I've seen John Q. and I've seen Brian's Song. I didn't cry. I've seen both of those movies. Should I watch them again? Someone says Where the Red Fern Grows. That'll make me cry.
What about just videos of soldiers returning home?
Oh, the ones with the kids, they surprise the kids. That is very touching. I'm not gonna lie. That
might do it.
That I've watched those. I don't cry, but that's right there.
If I I'm just gonna put
that's good stuff.
We'll get Jacob to put together a 20-minute video of just those type of things
and see if
if we can break you.
See if you know what, I'm down because this needs to happen. I mean, this can't be healthy.
We'll Clockwork Orange you into watching that over and over again.
This is not good for my mental health. So I agree. I need to cry. So maybe you need to strap me in and just play little sad stuff like that's not sad. That's happy.
No, that's the thing. It's happy tears.
Those
They're
are happy
good tears.
Yeah.
Sad you can have any tears because once you start, it's over.
I can't even imagine tears of joy. Oh my goodness, that's another level. I mean, I can't even cry tears of sadness. Tears of joy. That's got to be amazing. I got married. I didn't cry tears of joy. Some people cry. Some people cry when they have kids. So maybe I'll cry when I have kids.
Yeah, maybe that'll be it.
Tears of joy. I want tears of joy though. That's
you're gonna
have
to fake it now if it doesn't.
What do you mean fake the cry? I can't fake cry.
Yeah, you're just gonna be like, oh baby, oh I'm so sad, oh, so happy.
Dude,
oh.
No way I can fake cry. Someone says, multiple Old Yellers on here. I've seen Old Yeller. Did not cry. I seen it as a child actually. Well, maybe I should watch it as an adult. Maybe it'll make me cry now.
No, because now it's just gonna make you think of John Wick.
What's up there? Oh yeah, we got to get to this because that is the unofficial. That's what I said. The unofficial mascot for Texas football this year will be John Wick after Quinn made the John Wick comment at Big 12 Media Days, and now Sark also embracing John Wick. We'll play that audio coming up next. It's a beautiful thing. Oh man, John. So hey, Texas football, all the video folks, the people who set up all the video board stuff. All the people who do the promotion stuff behind the scenes, the graphics and all that. I need y'all to embrace this and throw up some John Wick stuff on the Jumbotron. All right, throw it up there. All right, we're going to need that because then Longhorn fans, they all get the quote. They're trying to promote this, so let's make it the unofficial mascot of the season, the theme of the season. As a matter of fact, they asked him about the theme and he brought up John Wick. All right, we'll get to the audio. I'm just kind of spoiling it now. Anyway, this is the Flex. FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all your social media platforms. The Flex, by the way, has the All Flex watch list listed. You can go check that out. Yes, some people said that the website did not have the quarterbacks and the running backs. If that is the case, go to the FLXATX on your social media platforms. It's definitely on your Facebook and your Instagram. It's on the gram, as the young folks would say. So it's up there. I know it's up there because I looked at it and saw it. But we read off those names last week. Go check out the All Flex watch list. That is up at FLXATX.com. We are going to scale back. I believe the high school coverage, still going to have some of it, but I think it's going to scale back along with a lot of things being scaled back around here.
It's all part of that. Trust the process. Mm-hmm. Rebuilding. We're in a rebuilding phase right now, guys. Rebuilding phase.
The rebuild. Oh man, don't say that in sports terms. It's always.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Yeah. Look, we'll be back on the airwaves very soon. We'll all say we're back, and we'll do the whole.
Oh man, yeah. No, hey, yeah, it's right though. August 7th. Remember, Patrick will have his afternoon show, the Sports Complex, from 5 to 7, and I will be joining Aaron Hogan in the mornings. I've never done a morning show.
Are you excited for it, or are you dreading it?
I'm excited for it, but I woke up this morning. This is kind of why I might be a little weird today. I woke up at 4:30 this morning.
To try and start getting ready for it.
Start getting ready for it. I'm like, if I got to start doing a morning show, I got to start getting my body used to getting up in the morning, and not only getting up in the morning, but being aware and having to be, quick-witted and, cognizant in the mornings like that. Having to, talk in the morning.
Not in a bad mood.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of a morning person, so I'm usually not. My wife, she's not a morning person. Like, you basically don't talk to her for the first hour and a half, basically. Kind of let her kind of work her way. I let her speak to me in the mornings.
Yeah,
it's like that means she's in her mood now. She's kind of got past it. But yeah, some people are morning people. It doesn't really matter to me, as you guys can hear. I can kind of I don't sleep much anyway. I don't sleep like 5 or 6 hours a night. So it does fit, but I had to get up at 4:30 just to start getting myself acclimated. That's wild to get up that early. And then I don't even know when. I got to switch my prep up, too. This prep's going to be weird because I prep during the day. Now I got to prep
at night.
At night. It's going to be weird switching all that up. So.
Well, yeah, and then it's like the top news stories at night aren't the same top news
Oh,
stories
they're
in the
not at all.
morning.
And then in the morning, sometimes stuff breaks and,
Yeah.
in the process. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a new challenge, but I'm looking forward to it. E. Hogan is a professional. He's fantastic. He's great. He's been in this business for, 25 years or something like that, probably even longer than that. I don't want to age the man. But I'm looking forward to working with E. Hogan, man, because E. Hogan's fantastic. I'm looking forward to working with Ty, too. So that'll be great. And that'll be 6 to 11 a.m. In the mornings. No 104.9. Remember, that's going away. Actually, in a couple of hours, it's going to be going away. No 105.3. That's already gone. It'll be on 101.9 in AM 1260. If you want to complain about the static in the AM signal and complain about how weak the other FM signal is, I don't disagree with you. That's why you got to get the app. You know what I mean? You got to get the app. The app is clear. It's crisp. So download the Horn app. Actually, I had to. Full disclosure, I didn't have the Horn. I still stream through another platform because it used to allow me to rewind programs, and that's why I love the other platform. But now I'll get the Horn app so I can make sure I can stream it that way. But that's what you should do. But if you stream the Horn from any service, you'll still get the Horn, like on that streaming service.
Yes.
The Horn isn't going anywhere. Just it won't be on 104.9.
Yes.
And we won't have our full complement of live local shows. So we're saying goodbye to all of our really good friends and some really good shows and some really fine human beings and great professionals too. So we're all sad about that, but we're also excited about the new chapter for the Horn. That's starting on Monday, August 7th. All right, let's get to the Steve Sarkisian sound. And we're going to start with the last piece of sound because that's when he makes the John Wick reference. And we're going to discuss what is slowly becoming the unofficial mascot of the Texas football season. Blackstradamus did predict this, and I'm glad now it's coming to fruition. We'll talk about it when we come back right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Okay, definitely not just picking sentimental jams
no,
there.
No, just sentimental, no.
Thought you were picking sentimental jams that were going to get people in a sentimental mood about our last show on 104.9 The Horn. That's not the case. Patrick's trying to keep the spirits up. Make sure we kind of keep the show upbeat today, even though...
Just trying to take in a roller coaster. We're trying to get to the ride of emotions so we can get Rod in the right mood to get him to cry later. And
I know. Female listener number 17 says, Rod, when and why was the last time you cried? Just trying to figure out what we're dealing with here after all these years. Yeah, I think at the funeral, I cried at a funeral. I was at a funeral last year, maybe earlier this year when that funeral was, and I cried a little. Okay. Yeah.
So it's not never.
No,
you can't be like.
I'm not,
I think my mom said when I was 2, I cried once.
Yes, I'm not. No, I'm not like that. Like no. Death, real death will get me. People losing their loved ones or people pass. That, of course, that gets to you, boy. So yeah, I'm just talking about watching a movie. I'd like to have more access to these emotions.
Yeah.
And I don't, because like I said, if I have to go to somebody to a celebration of life for somebody to cry, then I might have some issues. Might have some walls up that I need help breaking down. So that's why I told people to send me some movies. Maybe I can get a good cry going. And I thought about losing co-hosts. We've had people cry on air talking about leaving the air and everything. And I was like, well, I would love to cry on air about that kind of stuff, but I've had 10 different co-hosts in 15 years, so it happens all the time. So I'm a little calloused.
Yes.
To those transitions. And I figured out, because of you guys on the Specs text line, that my co-hosts always leave me. I didn't even realize that until I started diving
because he won't cry.
I don't know why they're leaving. They're leaving. They're all leaving. BK, KD left. Go. This is actually one of the first times where I guess the divorce is arranged. Like they're breaking us up. But I guess usually they end up leaving me. Yeah. When I left the other place, I was doing a show solo.
Yeah.
So they just got rid of me.
Yeah, the company left you.
Yeah. Thanks, Patrick. I'm always being abandoned. I've had abandonment issues, but it's getting ridiculous.
A good question about Feeling Specs text line. The Specs text line will be available next Monday. It is staying around. So there still will be the Specs text line, and Specs is staying with us. So thanks to Specs.
Shout out.
But Specs for sticking with us, and they're keeping it in the text line staying. So, yeah, starting next Monday morning, the text line is still operational on my show as well. We'll still have the Specs text line. So that was positive news to hear in all the stuff that is happening.
That is. I didn't know that. That's great. That's great news, actually. I'm happy to hear that because I don't want to have to learn a new number. All right. So just lazy. All right. So hit us up. Specs text line 512-337-3776. Let's get to some of this Steve Sarkisian audio. We'll be playing it. We'll try to get to as much of it as we can because there's a good amount of it. But we'll start with the last piece of audio. And it's a damn good one. Is the question in the audio piece here? Is the question in it?
I don't think it is in this one.
Well, if it's not, the question I believe was, what are your themes for the season? He was asking Steve Sarkisian what his themes were for the season. And you know what? Just listen to Coach Sark. Here it is.
Well, I think one thing, and I've said it before, I think this team's on a mission. They've taken this mindset of being on a mission. They've kind of adopted the John Wick mentality. I know that Quinn has touched on and Jordan has touched on, and that they've really focused. And I think that's probably the thing. It's like, man, they want to go do this. They want to be focused on the task at hand. I think that they've kind of assumed this mentality of embrace the hate. Like, we get it. We're the University of Texas. We get it. This is our last year in the Big 12. Well, we can sit there and be a punching bag, or we can go attack the people that we're going to play. And I think that they've assumed that responsibility to say, hey, we're going to go after everybody else too. And so I think that's the right mentality to have.
All right. So Sark's the one mentioning it after Quinn mentioned it. I don't know who came up with it first, but we do have the Quinn audio. I mean, this is at Big 12 Media Days when Quinn Ewers was asked about the target on Texas's. Well, I don't know if it's on their back. It's everywhere, right? Because they're last year in the Big 12, and the expectations are really high for Texas football. Here's what Quinn Ewers said at Big 12 Media Days.
I mean, I think there's always a target on our back, but there's also a target on the opponents that we're playing. We put a target on them. It's kind of like John Wick. You know, he's being hunted, but at the same time, he's hunting those guys as well.
And you know, Patrick, I was trying to watch the John Wick 4 movie like a couple of weeks ago, right before Harsh left. I did watch it when Wifey went out of town. I did watch it, and I made sure that I watched all 4. I wanted to watch them all in a row. So I did that. I had the time to do that. It was awesome. Ultimate guy weekend. I did not cry watching any of those. It was just celebratory, you know, just, yeah, get him, John. But then watched them and watched John Wick 4. It was pretty damn good. I'll throw that out there.
In 4 movies, how many times should he have actually died?
Oh, I mean, maybe 100?
Okay.
We might be in triple digits.
Might be in triple digits now.
Yeah.
I'm like, and that would be fatal?
Yes.
And that would be fatal?
We suspend disbelief. I mean, there are suits.
No, I get it.
And he
it's
wears
always,
a lot of body armor because I think they use a lot of, you know.
No, it's a Home Alone principle now. It's when you watch Home Alone and you go, wait, he kills him like 17 times in this movie.
But I mean, you got to suspend disbelief to enjoy it. But I did say after I heard that initial audio from Quinn at the time that this could end up being the unofficial mascot for Texas football this season because John Wick, you know, even though, you know, he's all about, for those who haven't seen the movie, and I won't spoil it for you, I'm not going to spoil anything, all right? But he tries to give up the life. It's as vague as I can. He tries to give up the life. And then people keep drawing him back into the life. He doesn't want that life. So I'm not going to spoil too much. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. It's a great guy movie. And the reason that it does fit for Texas is because it's been a while. For him, he takes a break. He takes, you know, he takes a, you know, kind of a respite from his activities. And everybody wants him to come back. All right. They keep asking him in the movies, you know, is he coming back? And for Texas, that is also the question. When is Texas coming back? When is Texas back? Remember Sam Ehlinger told us that Texas was back, and they were not back. That was not real. I love Sam. Sam's the man. Legendary lifetime Longhorn Sam Ehlinger. But no, Texas was not back. That was a fugazi, a woozy. But if Texas is indeed going to have John Wick as the unofficial mascot this season, then they would answer the question whether they are, like John Wick, whether they're back.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
So maybe Quinn Wick is thinking Texas is back. If they win the Big 12, a lot of people will be saying that. They're picked to win the Big 12. Expectations are higher than they've been since 2009. The last time the standard and the expectations were both equally high at Texas. Last time they were picked to win the Big 12 by the media. So, I mean, to me, that for Texas, that's the kind of mentality they do need to have. I hope they have it. This is all nice to talk about. And yes, I do need the graphics and imaging media department over there in Texas. We need this on the Jumbotron. We need some John Wick references. Y'all guys are very creative. Go ahead, buy some rights to it, get it done on Jumbotron, put together a nice video package, get the fans pumped up, put Quinn Ewers' head on John Wick's body and have him doing cool stuff, whatever you want to do. Probably don't want to have the killing and all that stuff. That's not good. Just other scenes, though.
Yeah,
not the killing scenes.
Matthew McConaughey, if you want to bring Keanu Reeves to a game,
that would be great.
Bring him on down.
That would be good. We actually having John Wick and DQ would be really cool. We can make that happen. Yep, no doubt about it. So I do like it. It's obviously this is something that the team is sharing, that they got this mentality. All right. John Wick, he hadn't been killed in 4 movies. Should have been killed a lot. Will that be Texas this year? Even though there are some games where it looks like they're going to lose and maybe they should lose, they found a way to win, found a way to stay alive. That's John Wick. He finds a way to win. All right? All right, let's get into some of this other Sark side. I guess we can kind of hit the opening statement where he jumps right into it, and we can start talking about this team and this season. Remember, they hit the practice field officially tomorrow. But the opening statement from Steve Sarkisian today from his training camp press conference. Here is Steve Sarkisian, the head coach.
All righty. Well, welcome back to everybody. this is an exciting time, I think, for all of us, and there's nothing like the start of football season. Kind of just the atmosphere, the temperature of what's going on around the country. I think everybody looks forward to this time of the year, especially coming out of the lull from the sporting world in July. And so getting ready for football season is exciting. Clearly, we're excited about our team. I think that as we went through the off-season program of winter conditioning, spring practice, our summer training, I think that our team has built a culture that we're excited about. Clearly we like the talent on our team, but when you start putting that together with staff continuity, the veteran players on our roster, and then the influx of the newcomers, we've built something here that we're excited about. And ultimately, we have to go out and play, and that's what's going to define us, is by the way we play and the way we perform. But I think we're set the stage for us to go out and have a really good training camp. Got a lot of players that need to improve. We need to improve, holistically as a team on offense, defense, and special teams. And to do that, individual players have to improve along the way, and that's what training camp is for. We are definitely not a finished product before it starts. So there's a lot of work to be done. But to get ourselves to this stage with a football team that is healthy to practice, every guy on the roster will be available to practice that first day. Which is good. And there's definitely a lot of excitement. I mean, I think that when you look at, the season ticket sales in June and being sold out in June, over 68,000 season tickets. I know our student tickets are on a record pace right now of what's to be sold. So I think there's a lot of excitement in the air amongst the program. I know DKR is going to be rocking every Saturday, and we're looking forward to that Labor Day weekend. So a lot to be fired up about, a lot of really good players coming back, a great staff coming back. Like I said, a lot of influx of new players that can help this team be even better. And then now it's time to put in the work.
So Sark's opening statement from the press conference this morning. What I like about Sark this year, though, is that he is embracing the high expectations. He knows there's no way around them at Texas. Might as well embrace it, make it a part of your culture, because you can't avoid it, and you don't want the guys to be, you don't want them to be surprised by it, and you don't want them to be afraid of it, or you don't want them to cower in the face of it. Because at Texas, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, recruiting at a high level. And Sark's, he's good with right now with the culture and the continuity and the talent development. He seems to have everything right now going, at least a trajectory of it, going in the right direction. And if that's the case, the expectations come along with it. So Longhorn fans right now, all at double-digit wins and our Big 12 title. Title appearance. I don't even know if somebody said you got to win it. I think if you win double-digit games and a title appearance, that's a lot of improvement for Texas.
It is, but I mean, I think for this, and I mean, this is what I'll say of early season, before we even get to Big 12, no moral victories. Is that Alabama last year was that moral victory, and I was fine with it last year. That one this year is you either win or you lose it, and this is a team that needs to have the mindset of, no, we can beat Alabama. We need to go in and beat Alabama. And that change of last year's team, seeing kind of where your peaks were and your valleys, that this is a team that you have to go into the season going, no, okay, we don't go in as the underdog anymore. We don't go in as that. We don't go in as a team that underperformed a year ago. None of that. We are now a team that is playing for a national championship. Now, our reality of where we can be and, what may happen is we're playing for a Big 12 title or bust, and that's where we have to kind of set our goals of expectations. But this is a team that is a no moral victories team. You either win or you lose. And there is nothing in between anymore, where you last year had a little bit more of that moral victory space, and you had a little bit more of that. We got away with the win, even though it wasn't a great one. Like, no, you need to up the style of play, and if you want to have that mentality of what Sark has been saying, that this is the year you have to start taking that mentality of a championship pedigree, and that's what he's trying to build. So that's where I think it needs to go. Of the attitude in the first few games of the season, the non-conference schedule this season, I need to see them come out with a attitude of no, this isn't like you don't treat anybody different than us. We're the best.
Yeah, they have to play to a standard right now. Yeah. They play to a competition, which is great when they play Bama, but it's bad when they play Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State is on a downward spiral, and you play to their competition.
Yep.
SAP happened against Tech as well. So I think they got to get to the point this year where they're playing to a certain standard. And, yeah, that should mean that you're in fewer fourth-quarter games. You're in fewer one-score games because you're playing to a standard, and that standard is really high, and you get able to win in, commanding fashion. That's part of it, too. That'll alleviate a lot of the concerns about Sark in one-score games. Sark in his fourth-quarter woes. You won't worry about that if the game isn't that close in the fourth quarter or it doesn't come down to that one score. Let's get to the second piece of audio here. This is a good question, though, because I believe the question is basically what is standing, getting back to the conversation that Patrick and I are just having, what's standing in the way of Texas football reaching the mountaintop again and becoming a championship football program?
The biggest thing that's standing in the way is, one, we haven't done it yet, right? And so we have to go earn it. You have to go do it. And then you have to do it with a level of consistency. And I think that's something when we really evaluated last season and as we were getting ready for this training camp, one of the key messages to the team is going to be about there's a level of consistency that's needed to be a champion. And the way you work day in and day out, the way you perform week in and week out, that's critical to success. And that's something that we got better at. We were not perfect a year ago. We can't afford those lulls of where we can play really good offensive football and then struggle for 3 drives in a row where we just don't operate the way that I know we're capable of operating. So those are some of the things that we need to work on at training camp and really understand the value of practice, understand the value of preparation, and then the value of execution and how we get to that point. And so what stands in the way is us, and until we prove that, that's what's in the way. But I think that we've got a great mindset going into it, ready to work on those things to put ourselves in the best position that we can heading into the fall.
Yeah. I love what he said, though, that basically we are standing in our way. That's the only issue that Texas has right now is they got to get out of their own way. And that is true. It happened last season with Texas. And I think a lot of it, and Sark's also talking about himself there. There's a man in the mirror comment, too. When he says we, I think he means me.
Yeah.
I've gotten in my own damn way, which he has. He should be at the, he should be further along in his career considering the talent that he has. And I think for this team, Texas, considering the talent that Texas accumulates and the resources that Texas has, Texas should be a better football program. We all agree with that. That part of the hatred for Texas around the country is that people believe Texas has the sports version of affluenza. Whole lot of money, whole lot of resources, and a whole lot of underachieving.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, well, quit bragging about your money and your resources if you can't get the wins. What's the point in having all that if it doesn't equate to wins? And I think for Texas this year, that I love that comment by Sark. We're in our own way. It's like that old quote from what Obama said, "We are who we've been waiting for."
Yeah.
It's sort of a mind, thing there, but he's right about that. Texas has been standing in their own way, even though a lot of the schools have become, I always said I love the great quote from DeLoss Dodds where he said, we don't keep up with the Joneses, we are the Joneses. And my counter for that the last 10 years has been, well, the Johnsons caught up with the Joneses. The Oklahoma States and your K-States and your TCU somehow. And for Texas, they do need to start playing to a higher standard, but ultimately get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. Stop beating yourself at times. Yeah.
No, that's it's the what's the obstacle? Well, we're better. We're more talented. We should be ready to go. And at the end of the day, when the going gets tough, we don't get going. And that's where you're just going to have to figure that out going forward. He says later in this press conference something to the effect of what he needs to start working on himself personally. So it is, we're still in that it's all talk. until we see it on the field. I like the talk, but it is all talk until we see it on the field.
I love the talk. Like I said, you're right, though. But there's no doubt last year we saw a ton of improvement. That's true. That's why the expectations are so high, because there was a ton of improvement from year one, right? In the 5-7 for Sark and all of the disastrous, disappointing losses where Texas had a double-digit lead and then collapsed in on itself like a dying star and end up losing those leads. And obviously the worst, and I think the record-breaking, the worst, I think it's I believe it is the worst comeback, or at least the most points that Texas has allowed a comeback in football is that Oklahoma game to come back and win.
Yeah.
So it is technically kind of the biggest meltdown they've had in Texas football history. But aside from that, I do think for Texas this season, we need to see one more step, and the next step will be, because you didn't get those last year, right? You didn't have the meltdowns where you had double-digit leads and then you would collapse and in on yourself and you would lose those leads and just have a disastrous fourth quarter. What happened last season was you had a lot of one-score games and couldn't win enough of those. You were 2-5 in one-score games, and in the fourth quarter, you lost a lot of games in the fourth quarter. Texas was outscored in the fourth quarter by 12 points, but they outscored their opponents by 179 points in quarters 1 through 3. And you lost 5 games, and you failed to outscore your opponent, or you were outscored by your opponent in the fourth quarter in 4 of those 5 losses. There you go. That's the next step.
That's it.
The next step will be it's going to be a fourth quarter game, or you blow them out, like you said, so bad where it doesn't even matter. The fourth quarter doesn't even matter. It's not even relevant because you have such a big lead. Or in the fourth quarter, that's where Sark can give his team a schematic, tactical, strategic advantage to put them over the top.
And the better example, too, is what you want to see is to get so far ahead that it doesn't matter, but it still matters. And that these teams are the Rice game where you didn't punt the ball. You want that for every game of, all right, we're up 35 in the fourth quarter. We're still going to play hard. We have depth now that we feel we can put some other guys in, but we still don't want to allow scoring. We still want to be able to move the ball. There isn't ever a let off the gas, because as soon as you let up off the gas, then all right, well now we can do that next game. And hey man, look, if we just get this lead out early, then we can. And once that mindset's in there, it's like, if you're at school and your teacher lets you off, if you finish all your work at 4:30 instead of 5. And then you just go every day you do it. Well, when you have to stay till 5, you're not gonna be there because you're gonna go. No, I have plans at 4:30.
Yeah, right.
I may play because we always finish early.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ever have that mindset. You have to go. No, we play 4 quarters no matter what.
No matter what, we're losing, winning.
We play 4 quarters.
Yep.
And that's the difference mindset of, feeling like that's what I'm saying with the normal moral victories. If you're up by 50 on Rice, you need to play like you need to be winning by 70.
Well, they need to take them out and then let the other guys get a rep so they can play hard.
Exactly.
If you're up by that much on Rice, that's the beauty of it. The guy who comes in behind you, he'll give 100%, and maybe you can't because you already are distracted at that point.
No, but that also goes to coaching and on the sideline. Like, hey man, we ain't celebrating like that right now. We ain't won. Go out there, coaches, fighting for the win. All of it to be, and I get there is lines of this and things happen.
I agree,
but you want to have the mindset of a Nick Saban, who is a championship coach, of he's pissed off at a false start on a 2nd and 3 while they're up 65 points. Because he's like, no, we have perfection the whole game.
Well, because he understands that, he calls it rat poison.
Yes,
what that can do for the culture if, we relax and we like to exhale and celebrate prematurely, even though the game's not over.
Yeah.
That can end up hurting your team, and can be a mindset that you don't want to sink in with a lot of guys. Like, no. We play until the fourth quarter is done. That's it. Like, until the fourth quarter is done, we give 110%. And I think for Texas, if you want to look at Sark's and what the negative kind of narrative has been for Sark since he's been at Texas, you're not a fourth quarter team.
Yeah.
Sark's teams at Texas aren't fourth quarter teams because in the first year, blown leads. that was the big narrative, right? They'd blow a lead. Means they'd have great game plan and preparation. They would get a big lead, and then they would blow that double-digit lead because the game is 4 quarters and not 2.5. And this past season, no blown lead, so improvement, that's great, but you're being outscored in the fourth quarter, and in the quarters 1 through 3, you're outscoring your opponents by a combined 179 points. But in the fourth quarter, you're being outscored, and you're 2-5 in one-score games. That record should be flipped, should be 5-2 in one-score games. And then you're a double-digit win team that's heading to the Big 12 title. That's the difference. Now, give Sark credit because that's a huge improvement from year one. But still, the big narrative about Sark, at least for me, is he hasn't cultivated a four-quarter team yet at Texas. They're not a four-quarter team. They don't play 4 quarters. They're playing more quarters than they did in year one. But 4 quarters, if they played 4 quarters, they'd be a double-digit win team. Down to the wire.
Yeah.
But they relax a little bit. Something that they lose focus. They relax, they lose focus.
And you see it in games like Oklahoma State where you walk in saying we're a better team, we're playing better than them, they're playing poorly, we're going to go in there and we'll take care of business. And then when you don't take care of business, you don't have that extra hit in your brain to say 4 quarters. You wrote them off before you even got into that game. And I know you said, oh, no, we'll play to the standard. But your standard was 3 quarters. And your standard was 3 quarters in a win. But when you need the fourth quarter, it's not there because that's not your standard anymore.
Yeah, agreed. The fourth quarter, that's what's troubling right now for this team. And maybe they blow teams out. Don't have to worry about the fourth quarter. But something tells me 3 or 4 games this year are going to come down to, just like they did last year, that fourth quarter. And that's when Sark and his leadership on that team, the playmakers on that team, they have to step up and put the team on their back and go make plays in critical moments.
Yeah. And let's be clear. If you get to where you want to get, the fourth quarter will matter. There will be times if you get to where you want to get, the fourth quarter will matter. So even if you're blowing out some teams, there's going to be games where you don't, whether it's an injury, whether it's a weather, or whether it's whatever it could be. You will have games like that.
No, TCU is a primary example.
Yeah.
Look how many games last year the TCU had to win in the final moments of the game. I can remember like 3 off the top of my head right now. Like they had to go win the game in the final moments of the game. That means you got to play all 4. How many games did Texas lose last year in final moments of the game?
Yeah.
Texas Tech,
Alabama,
exactly. Like that's that crucial, critical moment.
But even if you get to the college football playoff, you get to where you want to go. You do really think you're blowing out these college football playoff teams? You're just going to walk through the college football playoffs? No. So even if you were able to walk through the Big 12 and you say you're going to the SEC, you better be ready.
Oh, you better. It's a fourth quarter league.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's to me. That to me is the last hurdle for Sark. I believe if they can, like I said, become a 4-quarter team and play like they do. And by the way, play and coach.
Mm-hmm.
Play and coach. All right, all 4 quarters. Because I'm getting on the players that they don't play all 4 quarters. But I can tell you, sometimes Coach Sark coaches like 3 quarters, and then Coach Steven comes out there and trots out there. Sometimes Coach Steven starts the game, like with the TCU game where, oh, God, what did Bijan have, 12 touches? 12 rushes? 12 rushes, 0 targets. That was in the game plan. The game plan. Don't give me, oh, they knew the plays. Also a you problem, but they knew the plays. Still, Bijan deserves more than 12 touches and 0 targets? No. That's play calling malpractice. Y'all know it is. That's a dang coaching mistake. You can't blame that on somebody knowing the plays. That you gave the best player on either team the ball 12 times and didn't throw it to him once? No. So that was Coach Steven. Not Coach Sark. Coach Sark, we love. Coach Sark's a badass. Coach Steven, that's that guy you saw yelling at that broadcast dude at the bowl game. That's Coach Steven. We don't like that guy. Get rid of him. More Sark, less Steven. I think that's what's going to be. As a matter of fact, this year, I don't think you're going to see Steven at all. I'm going to say you're not going to see him at all. I'm going to predict no Coach Steven this year, and that's why Texas is going to the Big 12 title game. And you'll see plenty of Quinn Wick out there. There you go. All right, we come back. We'll talk NFL. NFL news, notes, and nuggets on the other side. We'll also get into more trash talk between Sean Payton and members of the Jets, Jets. Somebody wants an apology. And I don't know if they're going to get it. We'll talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a top of the charts Tuesday, the last top of the charts Tuesday right here on Ball Don't Lie. Also, the last Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. And The Horn will no longer be on 104.9. But The Horn continues, ending one chapter but beginning another chapter. And we'll start that chapter actually officially August 7th, Monday. My man Aaron Hogan and myself doing a morning show, 6 to 11 a.m. You'll be able to catch it on terrestrial radio, 101.9 AM 1260. But, of course, wherever you stream The Horn, on the Horn app or hornfm.com, you'll still be able to stream The Horn. Just stream it. There you go. That's the best way to do it. Or just download the Horn app right now, and then you can become one of those streamers. Also, my man Patrick Davis getting an afternoon show called The Sports Complex from 5 to 7. Oh, it's going to be a wild ride. He's already got the name for the show, and he's going to work on ironing out some of the details this week. So we'll have 2 live local shows for you. But, of course, we're saying goodbye to a lot of our really good friends, some damn good people, and some damn fine professionals as well. And I know those guys are going to land on their feet, but, of course, it is still sad saying bye to the shows and saying bye to those guys. But starting a new chapter on the Horn, and we appreciate you guys' support. Hope you will join us. It's gonna be really fun, especially football season. Come on, gotta be. Speaking of football season, so we've reviewed and talked about ad nauseum the comments Sean Payton made about Nathaniel Hackett, calling it his time with the Denver Broncos one of the worst coaching jobs in NFL history. Also calling out Nathaniel Hackett by name. He named names, which is not something you're supposed to do when you're criticizing somebody publicly. You're not supposed to name the names. Sean Payton did. He named names. He also called out the Jets. Remember, he called out the Jets saying that they basically predicting they were going to be a failure of a franchise this year, even with Aaron Rodgers, because they're on Hard Knocks. He said basically, trying to win the offseason, which is what the Denver Broncos did the year they had Nathaniel Hackett as their head coach, that usually leads to disastrous results. Peter King asked Mike Tomlin about this because in the coaching brotherhood, you're not supposed to publicly criticize other coaches. Once you become a member of the media, that's when usually they violate that code. But if you're a coach coaching, the rule is you're not supposed to, unofficial rule, you're not supposed to criticize another coach publicly. It is kind of stupid. I don't know why that's a rule. I think the rule is because I may see you going up on my way down, or I may see you on your way down while I'm going up. Either way, I might need a job one day. You might need a job, so let's take care of each other. Boom. You know what I mean? You never know when you might be on the other end of that criticism. So watch out for each other.
We just talked about on radio. You have some arranged marriages that happen. That happens in coaching too.
Yeah, great point.
So you may end up on the same staff with somebody that you're like, oh, no.
Yeah, there you go.
You may work at a TV network, and all of a sudden the guy you talk trash about is sitting across the desk from you.
Small world, man.
Yeah, you never know in these circles where you may end up with somebody.
That ain't nothing but the truth. And that's almost in any industry, especially.
Yeah.
But especially when it comes to football. Okay, but how about this? So they asked Mike Tomlin about this. Peter King did. He asked Mike Tomlin about the dispute going on, the beef going on between Nathaniel Hackett and Sean Payton. And by the way, Robert Saleh responded, took the high road, and Aaron Rodgers responded and said, keep my coach's name out of your mouth. Yeah, this is real. This is why I love this. This is the WWE-ification, NBA-ification of the NFL, and it is fantastic. I mean, when would some quarterback tell a head coach in the NFL that he's going to play, all right, in week 5, go on the road and play and saying, keep my coach's name out of your mouth? Oh, it's so good, so juicy. Even Mike Tomlin was asked by Peter King what he thought about the beef going on. He said, all I know is that I hope that game between the Broncos and the Jets is on national TV in a time where everybody can watch it because I want to watch that football game. Yeah, these guys have made this game, which was, I don't know, was it secondary, tertiary option that week? Because we talked about the games. They got 2 other big matchups that weekend that are going to be nationally televised. Now, I got to tell you, they can't flex schedule this early, but I have to make this appointment viewing. I have to go watch this game. Can you imagine the touchdown celebrations in this game? It's going to be – and Denver's defense is good. Is good.
Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers every time a good play happens just staring down the sideline?
Exactly. Doing this, the discount, the discount double check. Yeah, doing a little thing, discount double check celebration right in front of Sean Payton. Oh, this is too good. This is too good, guys. I'm loving it. And by the way, so Nathaniel Hackett, reportedly, there's some talk that he may want an apology because Sean Payton said he was going to apologize publicly, but hasn't done so. So there's talk that he hasn't apologized. That also is going to upset them because there's a code, all right, the way things are done, and Sean Payton has violated that code. Hey, I love the pettiness. The NBA is really petty like this too. A lot of weird, random trash talk. Coaches going at players, players going at coaches. This really never happens in the NFL, and I freaking love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
The apology was Sean Payton said he would apologize. He has not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just want to keep him on point that he told y'all he would apologize, and he has not done it yet. So he could find my phone number if he wanted.
I'm telling you,
Look,
the
my
NFL's
phone
gonna
number
love
is the
this.
same number that I had was it was coach last year. I bet someone there has it.
Somebody has Nathaniel Hackett, and you can get it.
I know.
Hey, Sean Payton can get that
he was
number really
he was
easily.
the head coach of the team that Sean Payton's at. I bet somebody in that staff has his number. I bet HR's got the number.
Oh, but the organization has it.
Exactly.
And also, if the owner, because sometimes the owner might make him smooth this over, because that's probably what happened when he
said it,
the mea culpa. He probably decided, his owner was like, hey, man, you might have stepped. You just made this like the number one headline in sports right now. Because they're talking about it everywhere. And it became a big story. And then he walked it back and he backpedaled a little bit. And now I don't know if there's any way to take any of this back now. Now he said, by the way, he meant it. He was like, no, I meant it. I'm not taking the comments back.
Yeah, I said what I said.
Yeah, he said, but he basically admitted that he was more in analyst mindset and not in coach mindset. So he did apologize for breaking the code, basically. So I can't wait though. This is great. It really is. You don't get better than this. The NFL's gotta love this. And now week 5, I gotta go find somewhere to watch the Denver Broncos hosting the Jets.
Yeah. I don't know. They may have made it the game of the week, that 3 p.m. game. So there's only 4 games happening right then.
They need to.
They may have that may make that pushed into the 3 o'clock game of the week.
Texas says Bounty Gate celebration. That'd be great. I don't even know how you would kind of artistically play that out, but I love it. I don't know how you'd play that. That's fantastic. That's what I'm talking about. Oh man, the NFL is getting petty like the NBA, and I think it's a really, really good thing. I mean, I'm telling you guys, trash talk like this, trash talk, smack talk, it really does help like ratings for athletic events and for different sports, because we know this from that women's national title game, that women's college national title game. We know this because they did crazy ratings. Remember, they had like 9.9 million viewers, all because these women were talking trash to one another. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and what's her name, Van Lyth or whatever it was.
Yeah, Haley Van Lyth.
Yeah, they were balling, but while they were balling, they were just talking trash, stunting and taunting each other. And I know there's a lot of people who are fans of sportsmanship, but y'all loved it. 9.9 million viewers. It got more viewers. The audience exceeded every game of last year's NBA Finals, or that previous year's NBA Finals, not this past year, so this is older stat, except for the NBA Finals, and every game of last year's Major League Baseball postseason, except for the World Series, every NASCAR race since 2017. It was crazy. I mean, it exceeded like LSU, Bama. More people watched that game than Ohio State, Penn State. Unbelievable. And it was all because basically ladies were promoting the matchups. And that's why boxing and, MMA, they just promoting the matchup before. Have them face off, toe to toe. Let's see if somebody pushes somebody, throws a punch, a lot of trash talk. We can put that out there. More people get pumped up for the fight. I don't know why sports doesn't do it more often. I know they want to make sure sportsmanship is up there, but this game now has become one of the top 5 must-watch games of the early NFL season. And you got to watch it now.
Yeah. Nobody in sports usually wants to be the bad guy. Usually people want to be the hero.
Good point.
But in this one, Sean Payton opened himself up.
He did.
He goes, I'll be the bad guy. I'm going to come out there and say what I think. And I know that a lot of you think it too. So when I say it, you're going to be like, ooh, you shouldn't have said that. But we all know.
But it's true.
And so he sets himself up as a perfect bad guy. So if you want to root for the bad guy, you can. Or if you want to root against the bad guy, you can. But you need a bad guy in these, and that's why a lot of these sports kind of, like, no one wants to go out there and be like, I'll just be hated. And the guys who do are like Dylan Brooks, and they're not good enough to know one. It's like, no, you have to win first.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. It's true. Because it's a good point. Because he tried to set up that narrative as well, and it's like, nah, Dylan, you're not good enough. You got to be good, too. Have a villain that's good helps. Yeah. He wasn't good.
You can't set the bar at until he scores 40 points on me.
Yeah, exactly. That's not 40? The bar. Agreed. So, yeah, man, you're right. It's a great point, Patrick. You got a villain. Villains create conflict. Conflict creates storylines. That's the key. Like that plays out almost in any realm of storytelling. Find a villain, and the villain will create the reality TV. That is literally the blueprint. They find a villain out of all the groups. The villain creates the conflict. Conflict creates storyline. You know how you can tell the person that's gonna last at least most of the reality show, if it's a competitive reality show, even if it's a dating reality show, the villain. Who's causing the most conflict on the show? That person will stick around. Because they are the ones that are creating the plots. It's like, no, I'll keep them around because they're creating great plots for everybody. They're making our job easy. Just creating conflict all over the place. And you need conflict because conflicts is storylines. Tons of it. And the one nobody's talking about, the best storyline that I'm looking for is a football theorist. Because I know that Sean Payton is living somewhat rent-free in Aaron Rodgers' head. Remember, the last time Aaron Rodgers faced a Sean Payton coach team, his passer rating, 36.8. His QBR, 13.4. 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. Just saying. Sean Payton ain't scared of Aaron Rodgers. Especially this Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
With that defense he got, he ain't scared of Aaron Rodgers. So let's see. Oh, I cannot wait. Get your popcorn ready. It's going to be great. I cannot wait for the NFL season to get started. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into a little off the record on the other side. We also got some NFL training camp nuggets here, so we'll do that coming up at the top of the 5 o'clock. Get back to some Sark Sound and Raj Rand of the day. That'll be at 5:30. So we got training camp nuggets from the Cowboys at the top of the hour. Then we'll dive into some other NFL nuggets, and we'll do, as I said, the rest of the Sark Sound, as much as we can get to in Raj Ran the Day. Bijan also turning heads at training camp. No surprise to anybody. We'll talk about Bijan as well. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time to get into a little off the record. There are a couple of off the record topics that I want to hit here. The first is an NFL announcement, and it went under the radar, but it shows you the NFL is brilliant about this. So the NFL is going to have an alternate broadcast of the Super Bowl. They're going to televise it on Nickelodeon. And they're going to offer, it's the first time they're offering an alternate broadcast on Nickelodeon for the kiddos for the Super Bowl. They've had NFL games focused on children in recent years. So they've been building up to this. But now, of course, the biggest football game in the country, the Super Bowl, and an American kind of institution at this point. And it is now going to be available in a kid-friendly form on Nickelodeon. So there you go. By the way, this is brilliant by the NFL. I've been saying it for a while. The NFL, they're big into, remember the candy cigarettes back in the day? The little candy I don't think they sell them anymore because, of course, they don't sell candy cigarettes. And we would, as kids, we would walk around, before we ate the candy cigarettes, we would fake smoke candy cigarettes.
Yeah, we would pack the candy cigarettes, first of all.
You would.
You would pack the candy cigarettes, and then...
It's like Grandpa did.
Yeah, you're like, this is what cool people do. I'm going to do this.
Just try you fake light it and
Fake
everything.
light it, walk around.
We would mimic smokers because we all knew the behavior.
Just
and we
tell
knew.
stories while holding this... Try and talk with it hanging out of your mouth. All that cigarette things you
All
can do.
that, all right? And obviously that is terrible and horrible because it worked. That's why remember, cigarette companies were diabolical. They would have like the cartoon camel and stuff. They'd have like these they'd have these figures that could actually appeal to kids. They weren't, well, I don't know if they were specifically designed to, but that's really kind of shady stuff. Trying to build up, right, the next market for their product. The NFL is doing the same thing. This is their version of candy cigarettes. They know moms around the country don't like the idea of their son playing tackle football, especially at an early age, and watching DeMar Hamlin out there and watching Tua is not helping their cause. So the NFL needs not only the families, but the moms and the kids. They need them to start falling in love with tackle football a little bit earlier before mom can put the kibosh on it and disallow it in the household.
Well, and I would tell you, they need to fall in love with watching football, because watching football will make you want to play tackle football.
Exactly, it does. Yes,
because
it does.
if you just fall in love with the game of football, then I'm sure you can be taught flag football and be like, oh no, this is fun. This is a fun thing to do. But if I watch the game, I want to do what they're doing.
Yep.
And that means I want to play tackle football, which is why you come home and you be scraped up and beat up, and you'd be like, I was playing football.
Yeah.
And it was nothing. Like, I played tackle football on concrete before because that's how dumb people can be.
Yeah, that's wild. On concrete?
Because it was one of those things. You had a gentleman's enough agreement that you were like, don't tackle hard. But it was still like you had to be stopped and taken down.
And our rules were we played on the street too, but in the grass. You could run in the grass. The grass was the tackling area.
Didn't always make it to the grass.
On the street.
Yeah.
No, the street was not touched. Street was touched. Cement touch. Grass, you could tackle. So you want to get tackled. I just run to the grass every damn time because I was like, y'all can't tackle me. So you're right. Actually, I remember I once ran into a parked car running for a deep ball. I knocked myself out.
Yeah,
I woke up with my friends carrying me to my house. I swear. I remember waking up with Curtis and Alex. They were carrying me to my house. Like, literally, I've been carried by like 4 guys carrying me to my house. And I knocked myself out. It was going to be a beautiful deep ball. I had great hands before I came to Texas. And it was it was on the tip of my fingers. And that's when I felt the truck. And it felt like I got hit by a moving truck. It was just me hitting a parked truck. And I should have blamed the quarterback. I don't know why I didn't blame the quarterback.
Yeah, you threw it into a truck.
You threw it into a truck. You know what I mean? Come on. That's not right. But, I do remember that. Oh, no, I don't. But I remember being carried.
I remember the quarterback made a errant throw, and I was so good, I almost got it.
I almost got it, man. I'm saying I was going to reach out for it. Anyway, but getting back to it, that's why, think about the Pro Bowl now. That's why the NFL doesn't mind if the Pro Bowl has changed. Because what does the Pro Bowl change to? Kids' games. They're playing dodgeball.
Yeah.
They're playing kickball. They're playing, they're playing games you would play at field day at your elementary school. And then the kids will watch that and go, oh, that's cool. That's some of my favorite football players. They're playing the same games that I play. And they also play fantasy football, and they play Madden with these guys. And now they can even watch them on Nickelodeon. So the NFL is very strategic with these candy cigarettes, basically. If somebody says, Rod, you still can get candy cigarettes. And yes, I know I had no hands. Someone says, if you can't dodge it, ram it. Well done. Thank you, guys. Yes. Yes, you can still get candy cigarettes? Really? That's wild.
You know, I met there's somebody who's anti-woke who's making candy cigarettes still.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, but I guess, yeah, how can you just can't outlaw candy cigarettes. They're just basically the stick of,
Just sugar, right?
Yeah, but the Fun Dip stick, like the liquor stick from the Fun Dip.
Yeah, but I think it was better. No, because
isn't it basically what it was, except in cigarette form?
I think it tasted better than that.
Did it taste better than that?
I think it was more sugary than that, because that one was just like there was no real flavor on that one. I feel like it. Again, I haven't had one in a very long time.
A liquor stick from a Fun Dip? Oh,
neither that. I've probably had that more recently than a candy cigarette.
Yes, definitely. I haven't had a candy cigarette. Look, I always talk like I haven't had a candy cigarette in forever. It's like, yeah, of course you have it. They're candy cigarettes.
I've had a real cigarette much more recently.
I think I used to buy them from the ice cream truck or something like that. I can't think of where I used to buy them from as a kid.
I feel like it was one of those things at the store, which that blows my mind. That it was like at the checkout,
Yeah.
and it was like, "Mom, can you give me a pack of smokes? I need my candy smokes, Mom."
We need some candy smokes, and we need some Marlboro Lights. Thank you. Oh, that's great. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into some NFL news notes next. We got to hit training camp notes for the Cowboys. We'll also hit some of the other training camp items from the NFL, and there is movement with the Pac-12 media deal. There is news. We'll talk about what that news is, and we'll get into that as well right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a top of the charts Tuesday, the last on Ball Don't Lie, also the last Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn, and also the last day of The Horn on 104.9. A lot of lasts going on, but that's okay. All right, end of one chapter, you start a new chapter. That's what life's about. All right, something's going to end, you got to keep it going. Forward is the only way to go. There is no other direction. You ain't going backwards, are you? Come on. So we're moving forward with the brand new lineup starting August 7th. That'll be Monday, August 7th. Patrick Davis will be a huge part of it. He's going to do an afternoon show, the Sports Complex, from 5 to 7. That's going to be fantastic. I'll be making sure that I tune in. Also, my man E. Hogan and I, we're going to do a morning show, 6 to 11. It won't be on 104.9, but of course the Horn continues. It'll be on 101.9 AM 1260. And I know what you're saying. Oh, I hate that signal. That signal's terrible. I get it. Trust me, I'm not. I am not someone who listens to a ton of like terrestrial radio, because usually I use streaming services.
Yep.
But you can use the Horn app if you're going to stream. Whatever streaming service you use right now, you can continue to use that. So you're fine. But if you use, terrestrial radio, that's okay, because 104.9 will be something else. The Horn will be on 101.9 and AM 1260, and I get your complaints about the signal and about the static and all that kind of stuff. And when the sun is down, they power down. They're trying to boost some of that stuff, but the best advice that we can give you is stream it. It's crisp, it's clean, it's clear, it's money. All right? That's the best we can do. And after that, you can go to hornfm.com and do it too. But like I said, you can still hear it on 101.9 AM 1260. 101.9 works better up north. AM 1260 is pretty powerful, but it's AM.
It's AM.
It's AM.
And yeah, it'll power down at night because that's how the FCC requires AM signals to do a lot of times.
Exactly.
So it is what it is. The Specs text line will still be here.
Specs text line.
So for everyone who's texting in, you will still have the Specs text line available to you when we start back up on August 7th. So
we realize we're also saddened because we're losing some friends here at the station. And some fine individuals, some really good people too. Good friends of ours who are great at their jobs, and they'll be moving on, I'm sure, to bigger and better things, hoping they land on their feet. I'm actually rooting for all the sports stations in town because I want all my friends to land at jobs and get to cultivate their craft. And this is something that a lot of those guys are really passionate about, and I believe that they're going to end up landing on their feet. So trust me, follow those guys if you're fans of them. We're following them too, and we're rooting for them. All right, so let's get to some Cowboys training camp news, notes, and nuggets, because there's a lot to get to. So we'll try to go rapid fire here and hit as many as we can. Next segment, we'll jump back to the Steve Sarkisian sound, and yes, we'll play the John Wick comment from Steve Sarkisian. That's right, Sark is dropping John Wick references. Okay, Big 12 title then. I mean, if Sark's, I said when he dropped the John Wick reference, I was like, man, to me, that says Texas got a shot to go win a Big 12 title because they got that type of mentality. They got that swag. Now you got the head coach also making John Wick references. All right, this is going to be really, really good or really, really bad. It's okay. I think it's going to be more good than bad, but it could also go horribly wrong, which has happened to John Wick in some of the movies that I've watched too. But John Wick finds a way to come back from that. Let's see if Texas will do that.
Yeah, the comeback. That's what I'm waiting for.
It is basically. It's about John Wick's. It is about his comeback, technically.
Yeah,
that's what the movies are about.
But we need comebacks. Fourth quarters. John Wick good in the fourth quarter,
and they got John Wick 4.
They got John Wick 4.
Boom.
Now we're ready. That was the problem. We only had 3 John Wicks last season.
So they were channeling the 3 quarters of John Wick and not the 4 quarters of him.
Yes.
I like where you're going here, Patrick. See? Aha. All right, let's get some Cowboys news, notes, and nuggets from training camp. Real quick, Sam Williams, the defensive end, now dealing with a shoulder injury. He suffered a shoulder injury in yesterday's padded practice. A person familiar with the situation said some initial optimism, though, on the severity, but he'll continue to be evaluated. But he suffered a shoulder strain, is what they're calling it. Cowboys have had some injuries early on. They had some injuries to some key guys. Donovan Wilson's dealing with an injury. It's a safety position. Hell, even their backup safety, actually, they had two safeties dealing with injuries. A hamstring, too, I believe, at one of their safeties. So Marquise Bell actually is getting a lot of reps at safety. So they've had some guys get nicked up early on, but the Cowboys are supposed to be a deep team. Mazi Smith continues to get a lot of love. One of the best quotes I heard from Mazi Smith, the first round pick of the Cowboys, he said, I don't even like football. I just like to hit people. It's a great quote.
That's a good quote.
It's a good quote.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't going to lie. That is a damn good quote. I'm going to send you that because I got the audio. I'm going to send you that because that's a good quote. You should just have that. I mean, in case he blows up and he's that's
especially
good
for an interior D lineman.
Yes, exactly.
Where you're like, you don't have to do a whole. You're not dropping back in coverage.
Nope.
You're not doing. You're just hitting people.
Exactly. I don't even like football, man. This is the sport that Casey Studdard said something like this, something along these lines at one point because he's like, I like to fight, and basically football is a 60-minute fight. Unless we just fight somebody for 60 minutes. It's the same guy lined up in front of all the time, so I just get to fight and whip them. And sometimes, hey, they get the best of me, but it's just a fight. He wants to fight. And if you like to fight, if you're a likes to fight guy or gal, you got to find a profession that is going to be constructive for, you know what I mean, for that urge if you like to fight. And that's what Casey Studdard. He's like, no, I like to fight. So I'm going to go play football. Get to fight somebody all the time. This guy likes hitting people. He don't even like football. He gets to hit somebody on every play. God bless you. Like I said, I could run fast and talk fast. It's my only talents I had, God bless me with, and I made careers out of them both. Lesson is, kids, figure out what you're good at. There's something you're good at. Make a career out of it. You like to hit people and you're good at it? There's somebody that will pay you to hit people.
That's true.
Somebody out there will pay you good money to hit somebody. We also learned yesterday about the Ronald Jones suspension, that he's going to be out for 2 games. How they start the season for a PED suspension. And now the running back room for the Cowboys, it's looking a little fragile, in my opinion. Just because you got Tony Pollard coming off the injury, Ronald Jones, I mean, he was a guy that you were hoping was going to provide you with some depth. You got Malik Davis. You got Rico Dowdle. And you got Deuce Vaughn. Oh, man. I like Deuce. I think Deuce is going to be great, but I don't think any of those guys, and that includes Tony Pollard, should be considered a every down main course back. And even Skip Pete, Tony Pollard's own coach last year, said you don't want him to be that guy. You want him to shoulder the burden with someone.
Yeah.
And he's not the same. He's not the same explosive back when he's got to shoulder most of that burden as a ball carrier. Trevon Diggs back in action. Maybe at the bruised toe, kept him out, but he is adding some drills now, and he's kind of getting back to doing drills. He wasn't doing anything. He was just on the sideline at one point, but at least now he's back doing drills with that bruised toe. But remember the secondary, they're, aside from the injuries they've had early on, they're deep at corner now because they got Deron Bland as their nickel. They traded for Stephon Gilmore. Still got guys like Nahshon Wright out there. You can move those guys around. Remember, Kelvin Joseph is still out there. We have no idea what Kelvin Joseph is going to do. Boss man Fats, as they call him. We didn't call him that because he didn't play well enough last year. And they also love this 6th round pick they got. Eric Scott is his name. I believe it's his name. Excuse me. They really like him, too. He was a later round pick. Also, the offense, the Texas Coast offense, apparently it is getting a lot of attention because we want to know how it's going to look. CeeDee Lamb actually brought up a comment about the Texas Coast offense and about Dak, and he is saying, or at least he's hinting, they're going to throw it deep a lot. This is kind of what he's throwing out there. And he was on, we have this audio, he was on with 105.3, I believe it was. And we'll get into that. But he was talking about the offense and really how they're going to throw it deep more. And they said that when they brought in Brandon Cooks. Remember, they said they were bringing in a speed demon so they could throw it deep more. And that may be a big part of the new Texas Coast offense for the Cowboys as well.
I got the audio. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, please. Thank you, brother.
He's looking for the deep ball now. And, man, as you see today, is up there. So if you're not going to back up, this is a warning to everybody. If you're not going to back up, good luck.
A warning. Better back up. They're throwing the deep ball. All right. When I believe they are going to throw it deep more because Brandon Cooks is a legitimate deep threat and he's a speed demon. And if Michael Gallup is healthy, they'll have the full complement of 3 wide receivers. And Dak actually is pretty good at throwing the deep ball. I mean, he actually is one of the better deep ball throwers in the NFL. And I've always said that you should throw the deep ball early and often. It does psychological damage even if you don't complete it. Sark certainly believes that. But they want to run a lot more play action. And usually, not always, usually your play action shots are typical vertical shots down the field. And if the Cowboys want to run more play action, which Dak is great at play action, so I think they're going to run more of it, that is where you may see some of those deep shots down the field. Dak last year, out of his 17 interceptions, 16 of them came on straight dropbacks. He only threw 1 interception when he was utilizing play action pass.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at kind of how this running back room for the Cowboys is set up right now, defensively, you figure they're not going to put big up front lineups against them because you don't have a big guy coming at you. So you're going to try and put more speed unnecessarily up front. So if you throw over the top, you can at least make that speed move backwards a little bit to give you a little bit more room for a Tony Pollard to break one or a Deuce Vaughn to break one. I think that makes sense of, hey, we understand with the talent we have in the running back room that we're kind of working against it anyway. That we know that they know that we don't have another option, that we can't make them switch up rotations and then not substitute. And we know that they're going to try and their game plan for us is probably going to not involve necessarily a lot of big men. It's going to involve a lot of quicker guys to get outside and play more linebackers and play stuff like that. So if we can go over the top on them, it makes all those linebackers take a few steps back.
You have to. Yeah.
Which now means a little bit more vision for a Tony Pollard or a Deuce Vaughn. And if they can get that vision to get past that O-line, you get past those first guys, now that's how you can break a really big run. So it makes sense in that sense in my head.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think you hit the nail on the head there. This could just be about using the pass to set up the run. And for the Cowboys, they said they want to run the ball more. Remember, they ran the ball the 7th most in the NFL. So I think they want to run it more effectively. It's hard for me to think they're going to run it that much more. What are you going to be, Atlanta?
I think the simple answer is they want less 3rd and longs.
Oh my!
That's the reality of the statement. We're going to run the ball more. Is we don't want to throw the ball twice on 1st and 2nd, and or have a second run it on 1st for 1 yard, and then throw it on 2nd for 3rd, and then it's miss it, and now it's 3rd and 9. We have no options. I think that's what they mean more by it.
That's a great point because I know you're just going off your eye test, but you are on the money. I got a stat for you here. Oh, just found it. Okay, how about this one? 43.7%. Remember that number, 43.7%. That is the number of Cowboys' 3rd downs that had at least 7 yards to gain. That is 3rd and long officially. So 44% basically of all of their 3rd downs, but 3rd and long. And I'll give you another stat to accompany that. Here's another stat to accompany that one. Look, and relating back to Dak's interceptions, he had 17 of them total, 15 in the regular season, 10. How about this? You can look at his interceptions, 15. All right, 15 of his interceptions were in situations where the Cowboys needed at least 10 yards to gain for a 1st down. And 8 of his interceptions were on 3rd and long.
Yeah.
So 10 of his interceptions, of his 17 interceptions, came with at least 10 yards to gain, getting to Patrick's point about long situations, and 8 of them came on 3rd and long, and the Cowboys were in 3rd and long 44% of the time. So, yeah, less 3rd and long, less Dak will be exposed, and he'll have high reward, low risk plays as opposed to high reward, high risk plays like you got last year.
Yeah, and so I think that when you throw in we're going to run the ball more, we make fun of it because it is one of those things where you go, well, how are you like, you don't have the running backs. You already ran the ball a lot last year. That's why whenever he says it, we just kind of, have that reaction to it. But in reality, when you say run the ball more, that includes more in what you figure includes more short passing. It includes, maybe a quicker pass out to a Tony Pollard or a Deuce Vaughn.
Quick game.
And just get the ball out and get 5 or 6 yards. So if you throw it deep, you try and open that up. but you don't want to be stuck in the place where you threw it deep on first down and then you get to third down and that puts you behind the chains so far that now you really don't have many options. They can cover the middle of the field. I think that's more of the concept, but, I mean, we'll see. It's Mike McCarthy, which, I mean, differing amounts of faith people have in him. I don't think anybody has the amount of faith that he's going to be the best offensive play caller in the league.
I think it's all about getting the most out of Dak. I think it's all about big Dak energy. Where can I get that big Dak energy? And he's going to try to bring it out with more play action pass. You brought up trying to make sure you're in more manageable downs and staying ahead of the chains. That is big. To the texter's point, texter says, Cowboys ran the ball a ton on first down, first play of the drive. There was a Twitter account that tracked it. When they threw the ball on first down, they scored more often on the drive. That's totally true. I went and looked at early down pass rate, first and second. In 2022, Cowboys were 26th. In 2020, so look at it, in 2021, they were 8th. So I don't know why their early down pass rate just cratered like that. That makes no sense at all. So that is also something that will help them to – the most effective passing down is first down. The most effective passing down in football is first down.
Yeah.
Because the defense thinks you're running.
Unless you have run the same type of play calling for the last several years and you have to change things up, which may be a reason why you move on from your offensive coordinator because you say, they know we're throwing on first down because we throw on first down a lot.
It could be, and maybe it could be he doesn't like the play calling tendencies of Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott had the most unique and intimate relationship for any play caller and quarterback in the NFL, and it wasn't even close because no quarterback and play caller had a relationship where at one time Kellen Moore was higher on the depth chart than Dak Prescott. Then he got hurt. Dak gets the job. Then Kellen Moore becomes a guy that's below him on the depth chart, and then he's just hanging out on the bench with Dak and their teammates. Then he becomes the quarterback coach of Dak. Then he becomes the offensive coordinator and play caller for Dak. There is no relationship like that. So I think a lot of it was the Cowboys believe they become almost too intertwined.
Yeah.
That there needed to be more checks and balances in that relationship. And I think that's part of why Mike McCarthy's the man now too calling plays. And I don't disagree with that, even though I'm a Kellen Moore fan.
Yeah, and I think you put that into it of discussion and everything else. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens and how this team comes together, and how the play calling does work. We know we just said it that Mike McCarthy wants to not get stuck behind the chains, but that's also a lot easier said than done.
Yep.
Because once you get into it and you say, okay, they know we're going to run it. All right, do we run it into that? And can we think up a well-devised run play that's going to get us Tony Pollard? They just showed the stat on the TV that Tony Pollard averaged 5.9 yards per touch last year. That if you have a guy that you go, all right, man, if he can get us 4 on first down and put us at second and 6, well, the defense has no idea what we're going to do on second down because now we can chunk it downfield. We can go ahead and pick up the first down. We can run it again. It gives us so many more options that – the first down is the best passing down if you're completing the passes. Mm-hmm. Once you're not completing, it's the worst passing down because now you basically have 2 downs to pick up 10 yards. And if you don't get on that second down, your third down screwed, and you better hope for a miracle. And I think last year, they had way too many times where it was a drive going, and then all of a sudden you tried to get cute with it, and you couldn't pick up the ground again. You hope Tony Pollard is that guy who can get close to that 5.9 number again. Now it's going to go down dramatically because you're the every down back. Mm-hmm. So those play calls that Zeke was getting that he should have been – he used to get 3 or 4 yards on, it was getting 1 on. You're still going to take those and you're going to get 2 yards. There's going to be plays that you get hit for a loss a lot because you're going to try and do something fancier to get him to the outside, and there's just really good defenders in this league that are going to be able to bust through. But if you can get that first down – yards per carry for Tony Pollard, yards per touch. So whether it's that or is it just a little flare on a play action or something like that.
Quick game.
If you can get that number around 4.
Start at 2nd and 6.
2nd and 6 or more.
Second and medium. 2nd and medium to
that
2nd
right
and
there
short.
Changes everything for this team. And so that is we run the ball more with Mike McCarthy. That for me is what it means is we're not going to be on 2nd and long and 3rd and long.
I agree with you. I said they can't run it more. They're like 7th in rushing attempts in the NFL. What are you going to do? Like, so you can become the Atlanta Falcons, but you ain't got Bijan. Speaking of Bijan, I've been seeing a lot of highlight videos with Bijan in one-on-ones. He looks fantastic, and no Longhorn fan is shocked that we all thought Bijan was going to go there and show out. That's exactly what he's doing. What I love to hear is that Arthur Smith is lining him up. And by the way, Arthur Smith has a new porn stash. Have you guys seen this thing? It is impressive. It's thick. It is thick and a little bit obscene. I mean, it's in your face. And he says it's a lifestyle thing for him. So it's a worthy porn stash. But anyway, I digress. They're moving Bijan around the field. Like, he's moving everywhere. They got him at wide receiver. He's lined up at a flex position, like right offset tight end. They've been in the backfield as a running back. They've even seen him in the Wildcat already. I mean, they just started training camp like a week ago, and they've moved Bijan around. The reason that Bijan's gonna, if Bijan doesn't get hurt, knocking on wood twice, he's gonna win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's the easiest money. I don't even know what the odds are right now. It's the easiest money you can make. He's gonna win that Offensive Rookie of the Year, just because not only of his talent itself, but the scheme. Nobody runs the ball more than the Atlanta Falcons. Nobody in the NFL. They ran the ball more than any team in the NFL last year, and they ran it on early downs. 51% run rate, highest in the NFL, and the only team to run basically more than half of their plays. You're talking about this, and that was before Bijan. Before they got Bijan. Have they put Cordarrelle Patterson, and this is why I love the offensive scheme for Arthur Smith, because behind Kyle Shanahan's offense, it is the second, I would say it is the second offense in the NFL that I can identify that is built around principles of positionless football. And Shanahan's it's next level, right? Christian McCaffrey and Kittle and Juszczyk and Deebo Samuel. He's got 4 of those. And they're all like the best potentially at their position and in the positionless realm too. So he's got some force multipliers. But Atlanta's been building it in a very similar fashion. Arthur Smith has Cordarrelle Patterson, who can play wide receiver and running back. He's got Kyle Pitts, who's a freaky tight end who can play wide receiver and play tight end. You can move them all around. Now they got Bijan, who is extremely versatile. And I remember, Jeff Howe told me when he was, being recruited by Texas, they said, this kid Bijan could play wide receiver. And he would go to NFL as a wide receiver. Like, he's that good. He's going to play running back, but if he decided to focus on wide receiver, he would be an NFL caliber wide receiver. He could play the H position, the slot position for Texas under Tom Herman. He'd have been that good. I'm serious. That's basically. So I do think that if he stays healthy, Bijan's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year just because of that. The system and his skill set are so compatible. It's built around positionless football. He's a modern-age positionless football player, and nobody wants to run the rock like Atlanta.
No, and the fact that you gave the stat earlier this year about how many times they kept running the ball down in the fourth quarter, that stat will blow your mind. It
is.
Of that, when you talk about stats for a running back, when you say, oh, no, they're still going to run it in the fourth quarter, even though they may be down. When you look at the lineup of the team and you go, well, they have a lot of talent, but they don't necessarily have a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means you're going to run the ball more. And in important situations, you're going to try and get the ball to your best player, who your best player at this point may be Bijan Robinson. So,
yep.
I think that it is all hands on deck, because where I'd say I'll compare Jahmyr Gibbs as a type of player who's a really good player, he is on a team with a lot of other weapons. He is on a team that had a lot of success last year, and all of those factors that mean he is going to be added in. Bijan Robinson was drafted to be the guy on this team. There's a large gap between why those guys were drafted to do what they did. Jahmyr Gibbs like, hey, man, we already have a system that works. We think if we put you in, it'll upgrade. And Atlanta said, we have this system. You're the guy. You're not only the keys to the ignition, you're the engine, you're the seats, you're the exterior, you're the wheels, you're the tires, you're everything. We need you to go, and then we'll have other pieces to add on to it. And Algiers will still be a part of it, and Cordell Patterson will still be a part of it, and hopefully Ritter takes a step forward as a quarterback, and we get the ball to Kyle Pitts, and I can't remember the wide receiver's name.
Drake London.
Drake London. Hopefully we can get them all going, but to start it off early in the season, it seems like it's going to be mostly Bijan.
Oh, I think I think they're actually going to showcase Bijan early on. Why wouldn't they want him to, win Rookie of the Year? The management, or I should say, the ownership. Well, management, because I'm talking about the GM here. They when they were asked about Bijan, Arthur Smith said, "We're pretty damn pleased with Bijan so far. The way we use him, I think, is different than most, just philosophically, with guys all over." And he's right about that. Nobody's going to use Bijan the way maybe Shano would in San Fran. Other than him, nobody's going to use him the multifaceted way that Arthur Smith and Atlanta's going to use him. Another quote from Bijan: "Obviously, I do a lot of different things, and maybe a lot of running backs are starting to do. For me, I'm a player that loves to give an opportunity to my offense, whether it's me lining up at wide receiver or me lining up in the slot or trying to get off to an opportunity to maximize ourselves." Yeah. So, Bijan, I can't wait. I got to start watching Atlanta games now. I got to go find Atlanta games. I want to see how they use Bijan. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. And I don't think it's I don't know if it's some kind of grand prognostication. I do think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. So, offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL. And the stat you're talking about, this is how dedicated Atlanta is to running the ball. They ran the ball 48.8% of the time when playing from behind. That's 5 percentage points more than any other team in that situation. So, even when they were playing from behind, they had a game against Cincinnati in Week 7, and they were down. I think they ended up losing 35-17 or something. Atlanta passed the ball just 13 times. It was the second fewest in a game of basically of that week. Second fewest in a game, and they trailed by at least 2 scores for over 80% of the time. 18 points they trailed by in the fourth quarter. They still only threw it 13 times. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like that just lets you know he's stubborn about wanting to run the rock. They want to run the rock. Fewest shotgun snaps in the NFL on first down. They don't care if you know they're running. That's why they drafted Bijan that high. All right, we come back. We'll get into some Steve Sarkisian audio. He spoke to the media at the introductory press conference for training camp for Texas. They'll start practice tomorrow. We'll hear from the head coach on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time to get to some of the Steve Sarkisian sound. He had his introductory press conference for Texas training camp. They'll start practice tomorrow, so he addressed the media today, and we have some of that audio. I think the one that's going to go the most viral and get the most attention will be when he was asked about the themes. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe my man Will Matthews might have asked this question, if I'm not mistaken. But I
can believe it. It's the last one, and Will usually gets the last one.
Does Will get the last? Yeah. So
I could believe that.
All right, so I believe it was Will Matthews who asked the question. So good on Will, who basically asked Sark about, hey, man, what are your themes of the season? And that makes sense because he's a Mack Brown guy, and Mack Brown had a theme every year. Every year had a theme. Remember, I guess technically Sark had a theme his first year, all gas, no brakes. What was the theme last year? I don't know if it was all gas, no brakes. I think they shut that down.
It's a classic car. Yeah. It's going to take a minute. Y'all be patient.
Y'all be patient. Yeah, I think they were like, you know what? We'll forget about the themes until we get this thing back on track. And so this year, back to the themes. Will Matthews asked him, hey, Coach, what's your theme for this year? Here's what Sark had to say.
Well, I think one thing, and I've said it before, I think this team's on a mission. They've taken this mindset of being on a mission. They've kind of adopted the John Wick mentality. I know that Quinn has touched on and Jordan has touched on, and that they've really focused. And I think that's probably the thing. It's like, man, they want to go do this. They want to be focused on the task at hand. I think that they've kind of assumed this mentality of embrace the hate. Like, we get it. We're the University of Texas. We get it. This is our last year in the Big 12. Well, we can sit there and be a punching bag, or we can go attack the people that we're going to play. And I think that they've assumed that responsibility to say, hey, we're going to go after everybody else too. And so I think that's the right mentality to have.
All right. Now, this is the second reference by the two faces of the Texas football program right now. Got the head coach right before training camp making the John Wick reference. Unsolicited, by the way. Nobody was like, hey, you seen John Wick? You're a John Wick fan? No, nobody brought up John Wick. Nobody brought up John Wick to him. Just asked him about the themes of the year. He's like, but John Wick. You're like, okay, coach. And at Big 12 Media Days, his quarterback, my quarterback, he also, with unsolicited, just being asked about why and how you deal with the target on, always on you if you're Texas football, especially this year when you're picked to finish first in the Big 12 by the media, expectations sky high. How do you deal with that target being on you? Here's what Quinn Ewers said at Big 12 Media Days.
I mean, I think there's always a target on our back, but there's also a target on the opponents that we're playing. We put a target on them. It's kind of like John Wick. He's being hunted, but at the same time, he's hunting those guys as well. All
right, there we go. So now it's official. I predicted it when I heard Quinn Ewers say that. I said, now the unofficial mascot for the 2023 season for Texas football must be John Wick. T-shirts, whatever, you make memes, gifs, put Quinn Ewers' head on John Wick's body, whatever you want to do. The media department over there that does imaging and does all the graphics, they're fantastic. I'm sure they can come up with something clever to make a John Wick reference. So there you go. I think they want us now to promote this as the unofficial mascot for 2023 for Texas. And if you watch the movies, no spoiler alert here. I don't like to spoil things for people. All right. I watched full disclosure and confession. I watched all 4 John Wicks this past weekend, and I watched them all boom, in order. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Back to back to back to back. Didn't even take a break, really. Fantastic. It was great. It was awesome. But one of the themes of the movie that does fit Texas, and maybe this is why they're connecting with John Wick, is John Wick keeps being, there's a question that people keep asking John Wick because everybody wants to draw him back into his old life. Won't spoil anything. But John Wick's trying to fight that. And Texas, everybody wants to ask Texas a question as well about Texas, whether they're coming back, not to the old life, to the old standard of Texas football, which was playing for championships and winning double-digit games. So much like John Wick, Texas also has to answer that question.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
All right. Is Texas back? Well, be careful there, but hold on. Last time we got carried away with that. Shout out to my man, lifetime Longhorn Sam Ehlinger. We love him, but that was a little premature. Wasn't back. So this year, we'll see.
I told you, we were back. We just left again.
Like that Homer Simpson gif.
We were back.
No, I think it's Abe Simpson. The Abe Simpson or the dad. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we were back. We just left again.
Real quick.
Just popped in for a visit. Gotta go.
It was a quickie.
It was like Will Smith's dad in Fresh Prince.
Wow. One episode.
The one where he came back and then left again.
Yeah, he did. One episode.
And we all Longhorns sat there and go, why don't he want me?
Man, and who was this that played his dad?
I don't remember.
Wasn't the guy from Good Times? Was it him? Was it the dad? Was it him?
I don't remember who.
I don't remember. I'm thinking like, who was the dad? Because he had one episode. Like,
I want to
say it was the dad from Good Times.
See, if you can watch that and not cry.
No, I did not cry. I did not cry for that one.
You did not cry when he said, why don't he want me?
I swear it was the dad from Good Times. What was his name? I could be wrong about that. Anyway, maybe I'm just misremembering, which happens. Okay, let's play another piece of audio here. And this one's really good because Patrick and I were talking Texas football earlier, and Patrick pointed out this piece of audio that really does kind of encapsulate what the next step needs to be for Sark. What really right now the obstacles are for Sark for reaching the next level of being a great coach. Because right now, he's above average. Nothing wrong with that. For now, this is the year where he takes the leap. Here is Steve Sarkisian being asked about the improvements that need to be, the basic improvements that need to happen for the coaching staff and for he himself as well.
You look at where were we not as good as we need to be, and I look at last year and I look at 2 years ago. It's okay. So if we're this really good game planning team and we got players buying in and preparing and going out and executing a plan for the first 2-3 quarters of the game, how do we get to a point to where we continue that and not have those lulls to where games are closer than maybe we would like them to be? That's the first part. The second part is then how do we execute in those tight games? And I think that we made strides as a staff a year ago of finding a way to do what we're doing well that day, to perform and to go win. And, you know, whether it was the Baylor game, whether it was a Kansas State game, finding ways in those games to execute, to perform. But I'm always hunting to be better. And because ultimately, you know, change is inevitable. You either get better or you get worse in this game as a coach, as a player, whatever that is. And so we always hunt for those types of things. You know, schematics are schematics. I never try to sit still. I never say, hey, this is our system and we're never going to do anything different. We're always hunting for those things to do better. I'm always hunting for ways to connect with our team from a cultural standpoint and developing great relationships to motivate our players. I'm always, you know, looking for ways to motivate the staff, to keep them engaged. And is my messaging right? You know, when you go through 12 months of looking back at your messaging, were those the right messages week to week to instill confidence in our players, but yet motivate our players to be the best that they can be? So that's a constant evaluation for me, and naturally. I'm my hardest critic. You know, I know you guys think you are, but I'm pretty hard on myself. And I'm pretty hard on myself on Sundays. You know, even after sometimes a great win, I'll look back like I could have done that different. Next time if this comes up, and I'll ask the staff, what'd you think about this decision here? What about this play call here? Would we do something different? Because I try to put as much in my bank, right, of tools to then be able to go pull from if and or when something similar comes up again. And so I self-evaluate a lot, and I'm very comfortable in doing that and talking about it because, hey, at the end of the day, I just want to be at my best for our players and to make sure that they have an opportunity to go achieve the things that I know they want to achieve.
All right, there's a lot of meat on that bone, but it does show you that Sark he's being honest about really that man in the mirror moment he needs to have as a coach, where he can self-evaluate and self-scout and determine whether his decisions helped or hurt his team. And if he was in a position to give his team an advantage that they did not have and help his team win a game. I've said this about Sark, and it's not like Sark. And Sark is an above average coach. I think he's around 55% win percentage. But name me the game last season where you can identify the strategy, the tactic, all right, or just the play call, whatever it may be, where you think Sark gave his team a schematic advantage, tactical, strategic, whatever, that helped win them the game. The last one I remember, honestly, was 2021 K-State when it had all the injuries. Bijan was hurt, quarterbacks were hurt, and they were in the Wildcat most of the damn game. And just kept pounding the Wildcat. And it was simplistically brilliant. Just kept running the Wildcat. It was effective. Why not keep running it? They can't stop it. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This season, although Iowa State, Baylor, maybe even the Kansas game, there are some games you won where you made a decision. I don't know if to me, kind of the easy decision of giving the ball to Bijan and Rojo, if that is considered the schematic, tactical, or strategic advantage that the coach gave them. That was just common sense. It's like, no, give the ball to Bijan and Rojo. Your offense isn't working. That is the easiest way to remedy that problem. Remember what I told you? What was my theme for last year? What did I say the theme was? Put some Bijan on it with a side of Rojo. That's your offensive identity. That's the game plan. Put some Bijan on it with a side of Rojo. There are times Sark lost sight of that. So this season for Sark as a head coach, I need to find a game. I need to find a situation where I can identify as a football theorist, Sark won his team that game with this strategy, this tactic, this scheme. And I didn't see it last year. They improved, but I didn't see that. If you think you can give it to me, because I didn't see that. And that's what we're going to need for Texas to be a conference championship contender or for Texas to be a double-digit win team. I give you the example about Joey McGuire all the time. Joe Me the Money, the Texas Tech head coach. Texas Tech went for it on fourth down more than any team in all of college football. Maybe any team in the history of college football. They attempted 52 fourth downs. And when you do the math on their fourth down conversions, they converted fourth downs that extended drives that led to 129 points. But when they had turnover on downs and they gave the football up, the opposing team had drives that led to 44 points. Do the math, 85-point profit for Texas Tech last season, which amounts to around 6.5 points per game. That the extreme strategy of Joe Me the Money got for his team. Because he figured, man, we're Tech. We had a lot of disadvantages. We got a lot of holes on this roster. I need to give us an advantage we don't have. We need to roll the dice. We need to take risks and hope that, the football gods shine upon us or Lady Luck is on our side. And that's exactly what they did. They were a riverboat gambling every damn game. And look at how many games they had that were tight. They beat U of H by 3. They beat Texas by 3 in overtime. Both those games in overtime. They beat Iowa State by 4 points. They beat Oklahoma by 3 points. I can say quantifiably, I can identify, Joey McGuire's scheme, his strategy, his tactics won them a couple of games. And that's the difference between them being a 6-win team and being an 8-5 team. That strategy beat Texas. It was this strategy that beat Texas. And Sark had to match wits with that guy. And instead of playing the man, he played the hand. Sometimes you got to say, I can't play the hand. I got to play the man. Because that man, he came there on a mission, with a purpose. And he was going for it on fourth down, no matter what the hell the yards to gain were. And Sark picked that up a little too late. So that's what I want from Sark. I need to find specific examples of him changing strategy, changing tactics, tweaking scheme, and that helping Texas win a game. And that is why in the fourth quarter, Texas last season was actually outscored in the fourth quarter. Imagine being outscored in the fourth quarter with the best running back combo in college football.
Defense playing as well as they've played in years.
Defense is a top 30 defense, and you're getting outscored in the fourth quarter. You lost 5 games. In 4 of those 5 games, you failed to outscore your opponent, or you were outscored in the fourth quarter. There were some games just a push, like you go look at it. TCU, you guys scored the same amount, so it's a push. But you go look at some of those other contests. Oklahoma State outscored by 14 points in the fourth quarter. You go look at Texas Tech, outscored by 10 points in the fourth quarter. You've outscored your opponents by 179 points combined in quarters 1 through 3, but the fourth quarter and overtime outscored by 12. There you go. And in 4 of your losses, you could not win the fourth quarter. 4 of your 5 losses. There you go. So for Sark, the same demon is haunting his tenure here at Texas. And the demon is you need to become a fourth quarter team. That includes the coaching. The coaching ain't going all 4 quarters, and the players ain't playing hard for all 4 quarters. Their focus doesn't extend through all 4 quarters. You're not a 4-quarter team. You want to be a fourth quarter team, but you want to be a 4-quarter team as well to play all 4 quarters. You're playing 2.5, and last year you played 3. That's great. That's progress. Hell, you had so many blown leads in 2021. They set records because you were only playing like the first half, 2 quarters.
You're playing the script.
You playing the script, yeah, quarter and a half. Now you got 3 quarters. All we need this year is the fourth quarter. There you go. Your theory is it goes back to John Wick too.
Yeah, John Wick 4. We only had, 2 John Wicks 2 years ago? That's what it's all about how many John Wicks there are.
Every time they
I'll tell you that. If they come out with another John Wick, you're not going to be able to stop us in overtime.
John Wick 5, college football playoff, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into, that's actually a Justin Verlander trade. The trade deadline has expired. It has come and gone. So we'll discuss that, what the Rangers did and what the Astros did. Also, we got to talk about the Pac-12 media deal. There's some buzz about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Okay, so this Apple Pac-12 streaming deal that is reportedly in the works, apparently the money is going to be projected to be below what the Big 12 revenue sharing deal for every school is, which I believe is at a little under around $32 million, somewhere around there. And then Colorado got revenue sharing. I believe they got it immediately upon becoming a member or future member of the Big 12, so they can enjoy those profits and that revenue immediately. So I think it's around $32 million. So whatever the new deal is for the Pac-12, and I don't know if it's finalized, but reportedly it is a deal with Apple. It is mostly a streaming deal. It's a very incentive-based deal as well, because it is partially based on subscriptions and streaming numbers, as opposed to some of the kind of old broadcast deals. So that, I believe, could start another group of teams exiting the Pac-12, because I think they were waiting to see if Kliavkoff was going to bring a deal to the table, a media rights deal that could compete with the Big 12 deal. And if it can't compete or even meet that Big 12 number, which I said is around $32 million per program, then I think Arizona State, potentially Washington, Oregon, could all look for greener, straight cash, homie, pastures, meaning Big 10 or Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I get soccer is worldwide.
Yes.
Most watched. I get all that. In America, if you were trying to tell me that you're in college football and you are trying to get on the same platform that American soccer is on, I think you have misjudged how popular college football is in this country.
Could be.
And I get it, but nobody, first of all, you lost USC. So for getting the big name out there who you're going to get people to subscribe to, you just don't have any.
You don't have that.
So you are only talking about Pac-12 people buying this at this point. So you're saying to our audience, which if you're any of those schools or any of those people trying to recruit or anything, you're like, so my recruit can't watch the game unless they pay me to watch it?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Ugh.
Why do I want to do that? Or I can go to this other one where the games will be on. There's going to be sports bars who don't have this because they don't want to pay for Apple TV because they don't care about Pac-12.
I know, and I have Apple TV, but you about to get a separate package with this, because I don't get all the MLS games. I get a couple of them. They tease me with a couple, but I have to buy the package to watch Messi or stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. And so we were joking about them doing a streaming and if that was really the best deal he could come up with, and I get that Fox and ESPN are like, well, we already paid a bunch of money, and we're not going to put you on the prime games because you don't have the prime game. And once you do, I mean, were we signing a 20-year deal that you're hoping to build up Oregon and Washington and all these programs to be top-tier programs?
If you can keep them.
But no, but even if you said we signed this long-term, it's going to take you 5 to 10 years to even hopefully get those names up there. There isn't a program in the Pac-12 that makes you really, really, really want to buy that program by a provider just for that.
I'm with you. Yeah, I don't know what the Pac-12 is going to do. We'll talk more about it on the other side, but if that's the deal, that it's going to be a streaming deal with Apple, there's no way they're going to meet the number that the Big 12 has already got for their revenue sharing deal, which means we may be looking at the end of their status as a Power 5 conference. So there'll still be a conference. The Pac-12 will still be around. They just may be dropping down to G5 status, which that's a serious demotion. We'll come back. We'll discuss that. We'll also get into the Justin Verlander trade. So now the trade deadline has passed. We know what the Rangers and the Astros have done, so we'll talk about that. That arms race happening right now in that division. Astros got a chance to catch the Rangers right now, just a half a game back. We'll discuss that. Also, more NFL news, notes, and nuggets. We got a ton to get into, and we'll throw in some more Sark audio as well. We got a lot more Sark audio, so we can talk some Texas football too. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Top of the Charts Tuesday, and that would be the last Top of the Charts Tuesday on Ball Don't Lie because it's the last Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. As a matter of fact, it's the last day of The Horn on 104.9. Not the last.
It's the last hour of The Horn on 104.9.
Hold up, so I get to do the last,
We can do the last hour, buddy.
last sign-off on 104.9 ever.
We're signing off, buddy, at 7
Wow,
o'clock. Yeah.
that's historic. Never done something like this. Should we have a special sign off? I don't know. Do I need to do something special?
I don't think we need to do anything that special because we're still going to be here for The Horn.
I know, but the 104.9 is gone
104.9.
forever.
It
It's
is.
gone forever. So we're going to officially sign off on 104.9. So now you can just say The Horn. You don't have to say 104.9. And just say The Horn. You know, don't say anything before it. Because with the Horn now, which kind of transcends just being on one signal or something like that. You'll always be able to get the Horn. You just got to stream the Horn, and that'll be the best way to do it. So make sure you get the app. For those who want to keep up with the other guys, I would recommend Twitter. Someone asked, what's the best way to keep up with all the other personalities who are moving on? Twitter's the best way to do it. All those guys are on Twitter.
You mean X?
Oh, my. Well done. Yeah. You're right. I forgot all about it. It's X now.
It's X.
But it's a tweet. So do I still call it a tweet?
I have no idea. All I know is that my phone looks like I have porn on the main screen now.
It does. That X is like, it's weird. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like it. It's right there too. It's just staring you dead in the face. The X on there. I think the blue with the little bird as, kind of the logo, to me, that was, I don't know, it was calming.
Yeah.
It was like soothing to a certain extent. This X is aggressive. It's abrasive. In your face. It's X. It's like, ugh.
It seems like it's built from Gotham City.
It is. And you have threads on your phone too? It is also black and white and looking weird and strange and aggressive. Like, listen, I know that Zuckerberg and I know that Elon and Zuckerberg
They're both in the MMA.
They have like a beef going on, just a billionaire beef. I get it. But don't use us, all right, as like collateral damage in y'all's billionaire beef. Just leave Twitter alone. Just leave it alone. It was fine. I don't understand this X thing. I really don't get it. I know I'm an old man now.
I know. It is. Every time I say it, I feel like I'm very old, but I also think I'm right. So
I think you're right, too. But that was my point is this. This is why I disagree with it. I'm not going on a real rant about this, but semi-rant. Elon, because you live in this town, there's a chance maybe this could get to you. What happened to all of the credibility, street cred, and market credibility that was built up with Twitter? People literally had turned it into a verb.
yeah.
Like you get to, you know what I mean? Like people were talking about Twitter. Like everybody knew what a tweet was. Even my mom knew what a tweet was.
Yeah.
She knows what Twitter is. I can't explain to her what X is. Like you had penetrated pop culture. You had penetrated, right,
Yes.
the lexicon, and now you decided to flip it. So you just threw out all credibility that you built up. I don't get it.
Yeah. It doesn't.
Makes no sense.
But yeah. I have
All that
no,
brand recognition just gone for no reason. Like what? Why?
This is my thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he doesn't like that it was something done before he acquired it. So it's almost like his ego wants to totally reinvent it and turn it into something else so that he will be responsible for it. He doesn't like that Twitter existed before him, and people say that it was better before he acquired it.
It just reminds me of the 90s. That's all it does to when everything just had to put in like an X into everything.
Come on, man.
To be extreme. And even if you got the pimple pads, it was Stridex. The X at the end. It was big. Yeah, we're trying to be cool. Like everything had to be that. That's what this reminds me of. It's a mundane thing where people go on and they're just like, oh, it's nice to see you. Oh, I made the Verlander trade. That's great. And it's like, now it's extreme.
Like that monster truck voice.
Sunday.
Dude, that was scary accurate. Are you the guy doing the monster
I'm not
truck
the guy.
commercials?
I probably have done a monster truck
I was
commercial in
gonna
my
say,
days, but
bro, that would have hurt my throat to do what you just did there. Do it again one more time.
Sunday.
That was really good.
Gravedigger.
Man. That was awesome.
Remember all the names.
That was great. Hold up. You also, oh man, what's the impression you did that was so good? And you never did it after.
With the Macho Man?
It was Macho Man.
It's all the same.
Why don't you like it's the same?
Hey, look, I'll tell you, Macho McConaughey may show up on the sports complex.
Oh, yes.
This may be something that may happen.
Macho McConaughey needs to basically be what the Irish guy was for Chad.
Yeah, he may show up.
Just make him a bit once a week. He talks Texas football. He talks about stuff going on.
Yeah.
Oh, Macho McConaughey. And you can, that's.
Read. Yeah.
Oh, that is good. Yeah, your throat's going to feel like hell, so you better record that beforehand.
See,
use some tea.
This is why you just abuse your voice for 20 years.
That is true. Ask Craig Way about it. Yeah, Craig Way's been doing that too. Craig Way's he's got like a secret tea and stuff that he uses though. He does a lot of, he takes care of his stuff. Anyway, there you go. My man Patrick. He's multi-talented. I love that Macho McConaughey may show up for the Sports Complex from 5 to 7, starting August 7th on a Monday. Also, Aaron Hogan and myself are going to be doing a show 6 to 11 starting on Monday. And that'll be on 1019 AM 1260. Both of the shows will be, but of course, they'll be streamed on all of the Horn platforms, hornfm.com, the Horn app, and also wherever you stream the Horn. Still going to be around. Just a brand new chapter in the Horn coming up. Okay, let's get back to this Pac-12 media deal. So the Apple deal is basically primary streaming deal is what they're saying. Here's what Pete Thamel's saying. Saying the money, although initially may be below where the Big 12 is expected to start, there's potential through subscriptions and incentivized bonuses for them to catch up. So I guess if it's, they get a lot of subscriptions, they get a lot of impressions, say they're getting a lot of streaming views, then maybe even, based on, I don't know if they can do that team to team. I think they share all the revenue. So either way, if they get some really highly streamed games, they can get more money. So right now they're below the Big 12, but based on incentives, they could get up to the Big 12, which is at $32 million or something like that. So listen, I don't know. Kliavkoff, either way, if they do, say these teams decide to stick with the Pac-12, they want to stick it out, and they actually want to believe in, and what this deal presents, right? Say they actually won, they sign on. They got to move on from Kliavkoff. Kliavkoff, this dude, he essentially has pulled he's pulled a Bowlesby. I mean, you're basically watching him pull a Bowlesby before our very eyes here. And I talked about this, how, Bob Bowlesby, his last Big 12 media days, he essentially said that the incentive, the motivation for realignment was gone. And that realignment did not keep him up nights. 11 days later, I BS you not, it was announced Texas and Oklahoma were leaving the Big 12. Not even 2 weeks after he said, realignment didn't keep me up at night. The motivation's gone. Nobody wants to motivate anymore. Nobody wants to leave and realign anymore. He basically said the cable network, he said all the money was running out. Basically, that was his premise. That things are going more to streaming now. So the television product is not worth as much. Actually, it's worth way more than it used to be, Bowlesby. The new entertainment ecosystem, because these broadcast networks, they can't predict where the new viewers are going to be in this new entertainment ecosystem. There are two places they know where the viewers are going to be. Actually, a couple, maybe three. One is news. They know people watch the news. They watch it live, and they watch it all the time at the same time. They watch their news, all right? And whether you're on this side of the aisle, that side of the aisle, you're going to watch your news. Also, disaster porn. We love disaster porn. Whether how sick and demented it is, whether it's a natural disaster or it's a mass shooting, we'll watch it. I know that sounds crazy, but that's also something we watch. Now, trouble is they don't want to put commercials in on that. So you know what they do? Have y'all noticed it? What do they do during disaster porn? The tickers. Disaster porn is brought to you by...
Yep.
This coverage brought to you by. So that's what they've done. And sports. Because they know you will sit down and watch a game live. You'll watch a sport live. It's appointment viewing. It is a social engagement. You and a bunch of other people are going to sit down and stream it. And y'all may actually go on social media and talk about it at the same time you're streaming it. People do that with debates and presidential debates and news. That's the kind of thing. So they want that type of engagement, and no other form of entertainment gives you that type of engagement these days. Nothing. Everything else is streamed at your own convenience. And you're trying to avoid the commercials. So that's why, Bowlesby was wrong. He misread the market. I'm surprised. Right? So he said that, and he was wrong. And then Texas Oklahoma said, this guy, we cannot have this Michael Scott of conference commissioners be the guy that's the star guiding us through this uncharted territory and the uncharted waters of the modern college football and college sports landscape. He wasn't the guy. And then Kliavkoff, at the last Pac-12 media days, he said himself that the longer they wait to get the media deal done, the better the deal's going to be. He said that. He said that. He said that to human beings who actually can think for themselves. He said, the longer you wait, the better the deal's going to get. And that doesn't make any sense to anybody. Nothing. Makes no sense at all. And he also said about realignment that he thinks realignment, this term of realignment is done. He said, we're done with realignment for now. We're done. Days later, Colorado decided to leave the Pac-12. This is deja vu. We're reliving Bob Bowlesby's bad history. It's like they always say the best predictor of human behavior is past human behavior. Just go look at it. He's doing exactly what Bowlesby did. They need to get rid of this guy ASAP. He's got a golden parachute. He's going to land on his feet. He'll be fine. He's coming from, I think, the entertainment world because he was like an executive at MGM or something like that. He can go right back to that world. But this is not going to be something he puts on his resume because he ain't bragging about this. This is a claim to shame for Kliavkoff because he did not act. And when he did act, it was way too late. And he did not act in the best interest of the Pac-12, in my opinion. Think about it, guys. He had since July 5th to get this deal done. He had a long time. July 5th, that's a year plus to get this deal done. And he let the Big 12 skip the line. So the Big 12 decided to get their deal done before Kliavkoff and the Pac-12. That was his number one mistake. And then let's not forget also Kliavkoff, and we know this now from the reports, man, he had a chance at one time to poach the Big 12 when the Big 12 was at its weakest. When Texas and Oklahoma left, he should have been aggressive, and he should have acted swiftly. And he should have went there and got Tech and got Oklahoma State and some of the other schools in the Big 12. He didn't. He said at the time that they did not need to expand and that they were not going to poach teams from the Big 12. So there was no need to. Well, looks like that was a dang coaching mistake now in retrospect to say that, nah, we don't need to poach from the Big 12 and we're not expanding. And by the way, same mistake Bowlesby made. Remember? Bowlesby said the same thing. He's like, nah, we don't need to expand. We're fine. We're fine with the teams we have now. No, you're not. I don't know what landscape you're looking at. You're not. You're regressing. You're retracting. Everybody else is expanding. One of these Power 5 conferences is not like the other. And the irony of the whole thing is there were multiple opportunities for the Pac-12. I just brought up one for the Pac-12 to dissolve the Big 12. When Texas and Oklahoma left, they could have done it then. Kliavkoff chose not to. And remember, Larry Scott, at one point, Larry Scott said this because this was right around 2011. This is right when, you get your Colorado leaving and then you get A&M ready to leave too. So this is right around that time. In fact, it's the day after conference expansion happened and the Pac-12 took a pass on Oklahoma and Texas. And Larry Scott said this is a quote. "We could have expanded, but the deal didn't make any sense at the end of the day for us. There is a very high bar. It's hard to imagine very many scenarios for our conference to expand because the bar is so high." He's essentially saying they're not good enough for us. He's essentially saying Tech and Oklahoma State, yeah, we could have taken some, but they're not good enough for us. We wanted Oklahoma and Texas, and that's it. And think about it. At the time, it makes sense because the Pac-12 has the richest TV deal in all of college sports when Colorado leaves to go to the Pac-12. Times they do change. So that was one time they said no thanks to essentially dissolving the Big 12 or at least poaching from the Big 12. And then there's the other time, remember, Bob Bowlesby, give him credit. He didn't have a lot of vision, but he had enough vision to try to join conferences, 2 weak conferences, the Big 12 and the Pac-12, and we all know it was inevitable that one of them would end up being dissolved. Well, Bob Bowlesby's idea was to merge instead of one of them having to face the axe, essentially. He wanted them to share a media rights package and establish a scheduling alliance. Oh, that ugly word, alliance. Remember that? Oh, Kliavkoff once again. Also another dang coaching mistake by Kliavkoff, trusting the commissioner, Kevin Warren from the Big Ten, trusting the Brotherhood of the Alliance. Remember, it was a spoken agreement, and it was a gentleman's agreement. And yeah, Kevin Warren went behind his back and poached his two blue bloods. Oh, his one blue blood, USC, but also UCLA. So poached the California market from him. And remember, once again,
And UCLA is a basketball blue blood.
that's true. You're right. So I'm wrong about that. It is blue blood. Great point. You're right. But also to go to the Bob Bowlesby, him pulling the Bowlesby, he's reliving, like I said, the same mistakes Bowlesby did too, because it happened to Bowlesby. And he was on the college football playoff committee with Sankey. They were on it together. They were hanging out in Dallas, meeting up like a few times a month to kick it, whilst behind his back, Sankey is poaching his two blue blood college football programs. They were hanging out together. And the same thing with Kliavkoff. He was in the alliance with Kevin Warren. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Come on now. There's some Game of Thrones succession stuff going on here now. So Bob Bowlesby's idea was to merge the two conferences. Let's merge, man. That way we can both, get some stability, some security, and then we'll end up being a mega conference, one of the first mega conferences. Well, that idea was rebuffed by Kliavkoff. He thought, we're better than that. 25 months later, what did Michael Scott say? Oh, how the tables have turned.
Oh, how the turntables
have turned. Yeah. Oh, how the turntables have turned. That's how I feel like with Kliavkoff. And it reminds me of one of the great, it's a great story, but I guess for one side of it, it's a sad story. But one of the great stories in American business is Netflix and what Netflix has become, from where they started as a service that would mail DVDs to your house. I'm old enough to remember that service. And now they're one of the number one streaming platforms in the world. Remember, at the time, Blockbuster is king. Just like in 2011, the Pac-12 has the richest TV deal in all of college sports. Everybody wants some of that. And then Blockbuster, which was king of the video entertainment industry at the time, they had no competitors. They had no peers at the time. In 2000, they had a chance to buy Netflix for $50 million. They could afford it. They scoffed at it. They thought, no, man, we don't need Netflix. Why would we acquire? We don't need it. It's never really the entertainment, the home entertainment industry will never be right as cutting edge as Blockbuster Video is. That's basically what they were thinking. Like this business model we got, we are pioneering a new age of home entertainment, and nobody can touch us. We'll basically be monopolizing this industry for the next 25, 30 years. Just sit back, guys, and get ready to make your money. And a few years later, about a few years, I say 2 decades later now, we're talking about Blockbuster's last actual store. I think it was in Alaska or Oregon or something like that. And they did a documentary on the last Blockbuster video. And now Netflix is worth $200 billion? That's Pac-12. You're Blockbuster. The Pac-12 network is Blockbuster. You had numerous opportunities to dissolve your competition. You had numerous opportunities to even merge with your competition. And you decided against because of hubris and arrogance. And now, as Michael Scott said, how the turntables have turned. Look at you now. Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But, good news for the Big 12.
It's great news for the Big 12. And it makes Brett Yormark look like the best commissioner in college sports right now because he did all this in a year.
Yeah.
A year he did all this.
He saved the Big 12 and may have helped kill the Pac-12.
Yeah.
At least for being a Power 5.
Yeah, exactly. He stripped their Power 5 status from him. And I don't know how, it's amazing. So good for him. I'm sure Pac-12 people.
They just Highlandered that one.
What?
Yormark came in and said there can be only one.
They're gonna, Brett Yormark. Yeah, and honestly, Kliavkoff, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, he got bested by Brett Yormark and the Big 12, and that may be the beginning of the end of their Power 5 status. Let's just say that. Okay, let's get back to this Justin Verlander trade. So coming back next segment, we'll talk Verlander. We'll talk Major League Baseball trade deadline. We'll also get into the Astros, of course, acquiring Verlander, what that means for them in that division with the Rangers, who they are, I think, still a half a game behind. But they got a chance to catch the Rangers. We'll discuss that. Also, Rangers fans who listen to the Rangers on our airways, 105.3.
On 101.9 AM 1260, where they've been, where they will continue to be. As the horn switches, we'll still continue to carry Rangers games. It'll be off tonight.
Yes.
As everything switches and we get our signal straight. They will not be on airways tonight, but they will be back on there starting Wednesday.
Okay. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into a little baseball discussion. Also, if we got some time, we'll throw in some more Sark sound in there as well. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn, and top of the charts Tuesday right here on Ball Don't Lie. And this story, before we get to the Justin Verlander trade and the trade deadline that has passed in Major League Baseball, this story dropped probably an hour ago. Iowa State quarterback Hunter Dekkers has been charged by local prosecutors with tampering with records related to the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigations inquiry into improper gambling at Iowa State. So according to the Des Moines Register, according to the complaint filed in court, Dekkers bet on a 2021 football game against Oklahoma State when he was the backup quarterback for the Cyclones. Along with that bet, Dekkers allegedly placed 25 other bets on Iowa State sporting events. Dekkers' DraftKings account alleged completed upwards of 350 sports wagers to total more than $2,799, which is not very much. But the Iowa State quarterback in 2022, obviously he's going to permanently lose his eligibility under NCAA guidelines. Like, you're done, son. Crazy.
Yeah.
He was the only quarterback to start every game for his team in Big 12 play last season. Like, every other team had to have a backup quarterback play because of productivity, performance, or because of injury. He was the only one to make it through the entire season. I ain't gonna say unscathed, but at least he started every game. And I thought that gave them an advantage. I'm like, Iowa State, that's a huge advantage for a quarterback to be coming back who started every game. And by the way, against Texas, he was dealing. Hell, if Xavier Hutchinson doesn't drop a touchdown pass with nobody around him, tell me the guy that's with the Texans right now doing really well in camp, who was the best receiver in the Big 12 last season. So the best receiver in the Big 12 dropped a touchdown pass with no Longhorn within 5 to 10 yards of him. If he catches that ball, Texas loses that game, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, against Texas, he was really, really good. And I thought he had a chance to come back this year and for Iowa State to make some noise. I mean, he threw for over 3,000 yards last year, 19 touchdowns, and he was honorable mention in the Big 12. Wow, so that's really bad luck for Iowa State. I don't know if it's bad luck, bad decisions.
Yeah, and I mean,
and bad luck for the rest of the teammates.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to 2021 at least because they said he bet on.
He wasn't a starter then.
He wasn't a starter, but he's been doing this. This wasn't a new thing that started.
No, he's been for a minute.
For a minute, but yeah. I just the number they say $2,799. That amount of money to throw it away for, that's what I just don't. I don't know if you think there's going to be leniency because it's less.
I mean, did he not? Is he claiming ignorance that he didn't know? No, I'm serious.
I mean, that has to be it. You have to say, "Hey, man, I didn't realize that. I was just doing this with a friend, and it wasn't I wasn't trying to make a bunch of money, or it wasn't anything.
Obviously, wasn't.
But I mean, I don't get how you, even if you're a backup, betting on a game you're in is you have to know that you can't do that. Like, because what if you're in the game and then you're like, oh no, I bet this. Oh, and then the quarterback gets hurt, and I'm like,
agreed.
And you go, man, wouldn't that be a scandal if someone found out I bet on my own game? Like, it seems like it'd be a pretty big scandal that a game where I could have controlled it and I was trying to cover a spread.
Huge scandal.
So, I like that level to me when you're just not that is where I can't say anymore. Oh, I get it. You were betting on, you went to a women's basketball game to support and you put down a bet on them.
A friendly wager?
A friendly wager because you thought, hey, man, you know what? I'm going with my friends. This will be a fun way for me to support I'll support the team, but I'll have a little bit more fun watching it. I get it. I get where you can say, hey, man, I didn't realize that was going to be as big of a problem as it is. But you should still know it, and every school should be telling their kids, hey, you can't be gambling. You just can't be doing it right now.
Period.
I know it's way easier to do, but you can't be doing it. But to bet on a game that you are technically in.
Even as a backup is still. Yeah, I mean, honestly, they just shouldn't be betting at all.
But you're a backup. You could get into that game.
You could easily get into that game. Yeah.
And if you're a backup, I mean, there's plenty of quarterback backups who hold kicks and punts or kicks and field goals. And,
all it takes is,
you know what? I need to cover this spread because it doesn't say you bet on him to win. He could have bet on him to win. He could have bet on him to lose. But if you hold a kick, if you get on the field at all in that game and you bet on it, you have to know that there's something shady about it.
Oh yeah, because you could determine the outcome of the game. You have you have that type of an impact on the game, so you have to know. I wonder to what extent are the coaches and the administration educating these young people about the rules of betting when they are on campus. I don't know if they are. Maybe they are. Maybe they're just not doing enough. We talked about this in the NFL because some of these players are claiming they didn't know the NFL's gambling rules.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, that's a failure on the agent's part, failure on the coaches' part because their player personnel people should be able to handle this. So agents, teams, coaches, and the players. That's got to be, some responsibility they take as well, that they have to be educated about these rules. And I'm with you. Even if you haven't read the NCAA rule book, which I'm sure he hasn't, you got to know about the gambling rules, man. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, because the thing for me is I get it, I'll give a lot of leniency to these guys that say they may not know the rules when they're betting on a sport that they're not playing in.
That is true, exactly.
Because I get that one is a silly rule when BetMGM and FanDuel and all these other places are advertising during your games.
Yep.
I get that it can be a bit shady in a gray area. But if you're betting on your sport that you are participating in, you have to know. You have to think, hey, man, didn't people die for this in Vegas a lot? Like, didn't they used to kill people for this? Like, yeah, they used to murder people for this.
They did.
So there's probably rules against it because they wanted to stop murdering. Like, the government wanted people to stop being murdered, so they made rules so that people didn't do this, right?
Yeah, obviously they're unfamiliar with the shady underworld and kind of the taboo nature of gambling now, because it's so widespread and mainstream now.
Do you think that guys like Hunter Deckers who's sitting in the room and then the documentary comes out and he's like, oh man, what'd this guy do? And they're like, oh, he bet on games, and he's like, what? What?
Oh yeah, why when the NFL guy start getting suspicious, like, wait. It's like, you can't bet on games. Even at the college level, you can't bet on them either. Like,
everyone knows that. So he's like, I mean, not everyone.
It's like, what did you say? It's a great. I wonder what his rationale is, because just in NIL deals alone, he's a starting quarterback of a Power 5 university. Yes, it's Iowa State, but hell, in Ames, Iowa, I imagine Iowa State's a pretty big deal. He's probably making 50, 60,000 easy in just NIL deals per year.
I mean, we saw the starting quarterback for Kansas could afford a chain playing his own highlights.
Thank you. Exactly.
So I figure Iowa State, considering he's been there, like, you figure he's got some money, much more than $2,977. Man.
Yeah.
Or $200,799. Sorry.
Yeah, that's still. Yeah, we wish it was that much.
But it's under $3,000.
Under $3,000.
That is a super small amount to lose your scholarship over. That doesn't pay for a class, but like, you're not.
No, you're right. I mean, that scholarship with the NIL world, that scholarship is your moneymaker, because you can stay in school now for like 6 years and just keep banking NIL money after NIL opportunity. Oh man, that hurts. I'm hurt for the young man, because I know it was just a stupid, dumb mistake by him, and you can tell based on the numbers, the figures that Patrick just dropped there about the money that he was making. He's not doing it to really make any kind of money. He wasn't doing it with that frequency.
It wasn't a scheme with a bunch of people.
Yeah, it wasn't a frequency. He was just friendly wagering. He's just like, no, I'm dropping a bet here, which makes me think he did it so casually that, because he wasn't trying to make money.
Yeah.
He was just doing it like a friendly wager so casually. Maybe he was ignorant and didn't realize that it was against the rules. It's weird. Yeah. All right. Let's get to somebody who knows the rules. Justin Verlander knows the rules, and he won the game of free agency, because he ended up being a free agent, got top dollar on the free agency market, and still ended up back with the Astros. So give it up for Verlander for working the system really well. He has now been traded to the Astros. In exchange, the Mets are going to receive the outfielder Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford. There are those that believe that was a hefty price to pay, but there's also the cash considerations of what also is
which is roughly around $54 million. Paying for Justin Verlander's salary. He has 2 years left on it, or a year and a half left on the current contract with a player option for the third.
Okay.
If he were to opt in the player option, the Astros would be liable for basically $29 million of that contract, which is not much for 2.5 years.
Yeah, and he is 40 years old right now, so, I mean, there's a good chance he starts at least contemplating retirement, thinking about it at 42, 43.
Yeah, and it's for the Astros on what their ranking of their farm system was. It was their number 1 and number 4 prospect. Both are outfielders. Their second and third prospect are both outfielders as well. Mm-hmm. So there could be something of, hey, we didn't want to give up starting pitching. We didn't want to give up, infielders. We didn't want to, because we're lighter on that in our farm system. But with Yordan Alvarez, we're planning to pay Kyle Tucker a bunch of money this season too.
Yep.
Then we have 2 outfielders already that were eating up a lot of salary. There may not be room for, 4 outfielders coming up. So we got to trade him at some point. this is a guy we feel can help us get to a World Series again.
They're trying to win now. I love it. As an Astros fan, can't be upset about it, even if they gave up too much in your opinion and you thought, maybe they should have tried to negotiate to keep those prospects or at least keep one of those prospects. I get it. But if they can win the World Series, even get to a World Series, you'd have to say that it's worth the risk because the AL is wide open.
Yeah, and I mean, and the money for me, again, we said, because when that trade went down, the first thing I was worried about was, okay, how are we paying Kyle Tucker? You just added $86 million plus the rest of the salary this year onto your books.
That's how you're paying him.
How are you paying Kyle Tucker?
Yeah.
And so that was my main concern. But with the money coming, that's why you give up your top prospects so that you can then try and go out and re-sign Kyle Tucker as well, who, again, we'll say, if Shohei Ohtani was not in the American League, he would be one of the candidates for American League MVP this year. That's how well he is playing. So definitely somebody you want to keep, something that should be in your future plans. I'll say this, Chandler Rome, who's a beat reporter for the Astros.
Yeah, he does a good job.
Tweeted this out earlier that Martin Maldonado had been in touch with Justin Verlander for the last few days as trade negotiations progressed.
Oh.
Maldonado said it got more realistic at 9:30 today. He found out the trade was happening when Verlander sent him a text this afternoon.
Okay.
The text said, "Let's effing go."
Oh, yeah, I like that. All right.
So if that doesn't get you a little bit more pumped up about it, that Justin Verlander is like, last one was, hey, you know what? I'll agree to do it at the deadline, and we'll send the paperwork.
Yeah.
The fax is coming in right before the bell strikes 5, and they have to do it. This one, he's texting, "Let's effing go."
He's pumped up. He's ready to roll. Yeah. I mean, he got good memories here in H-Town, or there in H-Town, I should say. So
he got his first playoff win.
That's what I'm saying.
He's ready to go.
He is ready to go. I mean, I guess, and I think you're right. If it ends up being a good run for the Astros, meaning they get to a World Series, hell, if they win one, it doesn't matter the cost. It's always worth it to win one. But getting there, I think it's well worth it for the Astros. They're just trying to find a way. And this is something you brought up earlier, that, he's older, so he does bring that veteran presence. There's a calming presence to him because it's almost like the coach-player thing. You brought that up, Patrick. And that would be good for Framber Valdez right now because he is struggling. Last 5 starts, he's got a 7.0 ERA. And, Framber's got the stuff. He's very talented. But he's a pitcher, and pitchers get in their own head. They have a tendency to get in their own head, and they go sometimes on, these streaks where, there's confidence is waning, or, they really can't. They got to solve some problems and figure out some things. And Justin Verlander can be one of those guys that can help you out with that. So that could be a big added bonus of bringing on a veteran like
Justin
and
Brent
Verlander.
Strom, who was a really good pitching coach for the Astros for several years, left a year ago to go on to try his hand at a new team.
Arizona?
Yes.
It was Arizona, right?
And so when he did that, we talked about at the beginning of the year, you saw some struggles from the pitching, and Verlander seemed to step up a little bit, and you heard some comments from players that Verlander was helping him out. So he was a kind of calming force when Brent Strom left.
Yeah.
So if you can say, okay, we need that calming force again, Hunter Brown's pitching okay, but we want him to take that next step.
That's another good one.
We're going to be getting Urquidy back. We need to get him and how he rehabs and gets back and how many pitches. We need Framber Valdez to become that guy again. Christian Javier was on his progression and is going up. We can build a really good progression. We're just not quite there of mentality and ready to go. Let's bring back a guy who was a vital piece of a World Series run, a guy they all have a relationship with, they all respect a whole lot.
Everybody does, yep.
And maybe we can help that build up what this team can become.
I agree. I think you hit the nail on the head. That's not obviously a big reason why they did it, but I guarantee you that is something that everybody around there is looking forward to, him taking on that leadership role, especially this time of year when it's about to get real. It's about to get serious. It's about to get real in that division because now it looks like the Rangers and the Astros are going to be neck and neck, and you got them right after the trade deadline. They'll end up tied in that division potentially when the Rangers have been winning that division most of the season. And now we'll get to see those additions, those acquisitions that both teams made right before the trade deadline. Essentially, both these teams kind of starting from the same place. We'll see if the Rangers and the Astros.
Rangers both of them get a Mets pitcher.
Both of them, yeah. Oh, that's good. Hey, think about that too. Good point.
Those guys were playing together, and now they're bitter rivals.
The rivalry between the Rangers and Astros, I'll admit, this is one of the best years for the rivalry. How long has it been since the rivalry's been this good?
It's never been this good
never
because we
been this
weren't
good.
division opponents. We were AL and NL.
Yeah.
And then whenever we moved over, at that point, the Astros weren't good.
At the same time.
And then once the Astros were good, it was when the Rangers were down. So this is the first time they've both been good as division opponents.
It's fantastic. It really is. No, Patrick's right. That's why it feels different, and they're putting the right amount of pressure and the right type of pressure on one another. Because there's a lot right now. You can tell the Rangers making moves, and the Astros got to pay attention. Like, what's going on over there?
The Rangers also acquired Austin Hedges from the Pirates, much more of a catcher.
Okay.
The guy who is not there for the batting. He is there for being a pitcher's guy. So someone that, maybe come in and maybe he'll be a Scherzer guy where they go, hey, you work with one guy and you have your guy.
You got your chemistry.
Give us a little bit of step, and we can put our catcher at DH. That may be what it is, but they brought in somebody else as well. It's going to be crazy. The Astros are a half game back right now.
Half game.
Right at the trade deadline. It is going to be a fun end of the season.
It really is, man. Baseball, honestly, they got some great storylines in baseball this year. This is really one of the best years for the second half of baseball because you got a lot of different storylines, and you don't really know how things are going to pan out. Especially in the American League, where you got a lot of teams that could end up winning it. So we'll get to some, we won't actually in the near future. We'll talk to you more about the near future of the Horn when we come back. Get ready to wrap this thing up and put it in the oven and make history. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Getting ready to wrap it up and put it in the oven. And before we do that, we'll let you know what's on tap. If you missed any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com. You can catch up with them on the podcast page. And, of course, this is the last Ball Don't Lie and also the last Horn broadcast on 104.9. So, a little emotional. It's okay. End of a chapter, but we're going to start a new chapter. Everybody is, even the guys who aren't with us anymore, are really good friends, and people who are really good at their jobs. They're going to start a new chapter in their lives, and it's going to be fantastic. You know, usually when you go through change like this, it is so tough for a lot of people because people don't like change, but oftentimes that change can challenge you in ways that you didn't anticipate and can terraform you into being the person you always hope to be, no matter what it is. So it's okay. Everybody's going to land on their feet. I do want to take this time just real quick in case you haven't heard what's actually going down. My man Patrick, he's sticking on, and he is actually going to get himself an afternoon show on with the new format, 5 to 7, the Sports Complex. It's going to be fantastic. And Aaron Hogan and myself will also work together to do a morning show, 6 to 11 a.m. Of course, not on 104.9, but it will be on The Horn, and you can catch The Horn on 101.9, AM 1260. And yes, I know, Signal has some issues. And, you know, those static and AM signal and 101.9, not as strong in the city, but stronger up north. I get all that. Just download the app. Or you can stream on hornfm.com, or you can stream wherever you stream now. If you stream The Horn, you're good. You can continue to stream The Horn just like you do. If you listen on terrestrial radio, some things have to change. So go to 101.9 or AM 1260. And if that doesn't work for you, trust me, try the streaming. It'll change your life. Patrick, what you got for the people?
You know what? Thank you to everybody for the kind words for the last couple of days announcing the new show, The Sports Complex. Appreciate all those kind words. We'll still be there. We're going to be very fan interactive. We're hoping to get a lot of things. Subscribe to our YouTube as well, at The Horn Austin is another way you can keep up with us. If you miss shows and everything, we're podcasting up there as well. I do want to thank you, Rod. Last year and a half have been awesome with Ball Don't Lie. I wouldn't be able to be ready to go up and do a show by myself if it had not been for you and Harge and everybody here helping me out.
You're going to kill it, dog.
So I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to you and Aaron in the morning with Ty. It is going to be a very fun show.
It'll be fun. Nobody, we don't know what it's called yet. Aaron Hogan suggested Ian Rod B, which, like I said, I don't mind Ian Rod B, but we got to add a little spice to it. So I'm thinking I'm pushing a name with Ian Rod B, because Ian Rod B is way too vanilla, and I like a little seasoning. I don't like anything too vanilla. And
you got to put a little seasoning in it.
That's a little too plain Jane. We got to go with a little season, a little Lawry's on that thing. So I'm actually going, and I think we started this with RBKD and Triple Option. I think we should let the fans choose the name. It's their show. The show belongs to the people. You should let the people choose the name. And by the way, you guys have done a great job picking out names for the shows I've been on lately. You helped choose Ball Don't Lie, helped choose the Triple Option, and helped choose RBKD. So last 3 shows I've been on, the audience has helped pick the name, and they've killed it. And I want to say, actually, the Triple Option and RBKD were directly from the audience. Ball Don't Lie was more of us choosing different elements from names and choosing Ball Don't Lie.
Yeah, it was a suggestion, but it was we went with it and ran with it.
Yeah.
It fitted our show.
Exactly. But Triple Option, RBKD, when nobody came up with it, and then I believe it's my man Dwight, Dwight Rabbit. He came up with it, and it was a great name. So you guys, keep your creative juices flowing. Come up with a name for the morning show for E and Rod B. And no, we can't go Rod B and E, because that's conjuring up too many hurtful memories about Bucky no longer being on these airways. But you're going to hear from Bucky. Matter of fact, I believe he's already made announcements about what he's doing, too.
Yeah. So, and for someone who asked, Twitter, which is now X, we know. I would say follow is everyone you can on there. The Horn, if you just go to the Horn's page, the Horn's Twitter, then they have posted multiple times with everybody's handles on there.
Nice.
So it's an easy way for you to click through and find Craig and find Chad and find Zay and find Cameron and everyone who, Jeff Howe, everyone who has worked really hard to make the Horn so awesome over the last however many years that the Horn has been running it's the flagship for the Longhorns and being the best place in Austin for local sports coverage. I mean, as much as this is hard for everybody right now, the one thing I can tell you is I know I've worked in enough companies in this town that not everybody cares very much about local at a management level. And this place, when I came here, what I really, really loved about it is they are the most locally driven place in Austin. They care so much that they have sacrificed a lot of money personally to make this a local station. Unfortunately, the way that the market is, it wasn't possible to keep it going. We have to restart and rebuild so that we can get back to where we want to be. But me and Rod, I can tell you, I know Aaron Hogan too, we love y'all. We want to do this for Austin. We want to be a local team. We want to support the Longhorns. We want to do all those things. And so this management will continue to push for everything to be as local as it can be. And when the time comes, hopefully it will be more and more local again. But we appreciate that you guys are going to stick with us for everyone who does coming forward starting August 7th.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, I listen to sports talk all over the country. People want sports talk that is community, that's invested in its community and that is based in its community. Because you want to hear your sports radio people talk about stuff that's happening in your town with your team that all of you are experiencing. And you can't get that with national sports radio. So even though everybody wants to go national because it's easier, it is way tougher to go local like we did here and go a local lineup all day. It's really tough. Takes a lot of sacrifice and commitment. But I think ultimately that's what people want. It's just really tough to make it happen. I do think the bigger the market gets, got 3 sports stations now, the more and more that will become a reality. In major markets, this is not a discussion. They got 3-4 sports radio stations, and they do live a lot. A lot of their stuff is live and local. But this market deserves it because it's a great market. People love sports in this market. So I'm rooting for all the sports radio stations around town because I want all of my friends to have jobs. And if they get done with me here, then I'll go over there and get a job. I've said this before. I love the market more than I do the profession. I do.
Yeah,
because I had a chance to go to Houston and Dallas, but I don't think I'd be happy doing sports radio in town because I can't talk Longhorns. They don't want to hear about Longhorns. They don't want to talk Texans in Dallas, right? And in Houston, they don't want to talk about the Cowboys. I want to talk about the Cowboys. I want to talk about the Texans. I want to talk about the Longhorns, and I can do that in Austin where y'all care about it all.
I love it.
All right, thank you, Patrick. I can't wait for
Thank you,
the Sports Complex, brother. It was great. I love you, and it was a pleasure working with you, man. It was one of the great pleasures of my career so far. No,
I appreciate
BS.
it, brother.
Thank all you guys. I love you. That is the truth. We love you. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll be talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. Or will we? We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Peace.